Take a moment and imagine this. You're standing in your kitchen, early morning light cutting across the counter. In your hand is a penny, a single, ordinary-looking 1978 Lincoln 1-cent coin, copper, worn, maybe pulled from a drawer that's been sitting untouched for years. Now imagine discovering that this very coin, this quiet little piece of American history, could be worth $4.4 million. It sounds impossible, almost absurd. A penny? $4.4 million? But before you dismiss it, consider this. History has a way of hiding treasure in plain sight, and the 1978 Lincoln cent with no mint mark is one of the most misunderstood, overlooked, and potentially explosive coins in modern American numismatics. The 1978 Lincoln cent was struck during the presidency of Jimmy Carter, a time of economic uncertainty and inflation. The coin itself bears the familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln, first introduced in 1909. On most examples, you'll find either a D for Denver or no mint mark at all, which typically indicates production at the Philadelphia Mint. That absence of a mint mark is not unusual. In fact, Philadelphia cents of that era routinely carried no mint mark. So how could a coin minted by the hundreds of millions possibly command millions of dollars? Here's where the story turns. Within massive production runs, anomalies can occur. Rare die errors, experimental plan case, transitional metallic compositions, striking irregularities so subtle they passed through quality control undetected. Most 1978 no mint mark cents are worth face value. A few in pristine, uncirculated condition may fetch a modest premium, but a microscopic fraction is so small that many collectors will never encounter one in a lifetime. Possess characteristics that transform them from common copper to once-in-a-generation rarity. Imagine a 1978 no mint mark cent struck on an experimental alloy plan kit, or one exhibiting a dramatic double die obverse so sharp that Lincoln's profile appears almost ghosted by a second strike, or a coin mistakenly struck on a leftover-proof plan kit, creating a mirror-like surface with razor-sharp devices never intended for circulation. These are not myths. These are documented phenomena within U.S. mint history. And when one of these extreme anomalies surfaces authenticated, graded, and confirmed, it can ignite a bidding war among elite collectors and investors. Why? Because rarity drives value. But not just rarity, a story drives value. Picture a major auction house unveiling a 1978 no mint mark Lincoln cent certified at the highest known grade, with a unique mint error never before seen in the series. The catalog description alone becomes legend. Wealthy collectors, hedge fund managers diversifying into tangible assets, and lifelong numismatists all converge. The bidding starts at 6 figures. It escalates, 7 figures, phones ring, online bids surge, a pause, a final hammer drop, $4.4 million. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you truly examined the coins in your possession? Not glanced at them, not dumped them into a machine, examined them. Because here's the uncomfortable truth. Treasures are often lost not because they are rare but because they are ignored. The late 1970s were a transitional period in minting technology. The U.S. Mint was experimenting with processes, dyes, and quality controls. Subtle inconsistencies occurred, and while most errors are minor, a select few become the stuff of legend. Collectors obsess over strike sharpness, die alignment, luster quality, surface preservation. A 1978 cent graded MS-70 by a top-tier grading service would be nearly flawless, an almost impossible standard for a coin produced in such enormous quantities. And yet, perfection itself can be priceless. There is also the psychology of scarcity. When collectors realize that only 1 or 2 examples of a particular era exist, fear sets in, fear of missing out, fear of never owning a piece of history again. That fear fuels urgency, urgency fuels competition, and competition fuels record-breaking prices. But here's the part most people don't understand. The coin doesn't have to look extraordinary to the untrained eye. It might sit quietly in a drawer labeled spare change. It might be tucked into a desk drawer inherited from a parent or grandparent. It might have passed through thousands of hands without anyone recognizing its significance. Let's pause for a second. If a $1 million coin passed through your hands last week, would you have known? That question alone should make you lean closer. The 1978 no-mint mark Lincoln cent represents something powerful, opportunity disguised as ordinary. It reminds us that wealth doesn't always announce itself with gold bars and stock tickers. Sometimes it whispers. Now, before excitement turns into reckless hope, let's ground this in reality. Not every 1978 cent is worth millions. In fact, the overwhelming majority are worth exactly 1 cent. Condition matters, provenance matters, authentication matters. Without professional grading and verification, claims of extraordinary value remain speculation, and this is where discipline separates dreamers from successful sellers. If you believe you have a high-grade or unusual 1978 no-mint mark cent, the first step is careful inspection under magnification. Look for doubling in the lettering, especially Liberty and In God We Trust. Examine Lincoln's profile for shadow-like doubling. Check the edges for unusual thickness or metallic color variation. Assess luster. Does it glow with original mint brilliance, or has it dulled over time? Then, and only then, consult a reputable coin grading service, because in the high-stakes world of rare coins, authentication is everything. Now imagine receiving the grading report. The envelope arrives, your heart pounds, you open it slowly. Inside is confirmation of a previously undocumented die variety. Population, one known example. Grade, near perfect. Suddenly, the penny in your hand transforms into leverage, a leverage that could fund retirement, eliminate debt, or create generational wealth. But here's the cliffhanger most people never consider. What if the true value of the 1978 no-mint mark cent isn't just in its potential price but in what it represents? It represents awareness. It represents diligence. It represents the willingness to look closer when others look away. In a world where people chase fast money through speculation, the coin collector plays a different game, a slower game, a patient game. And patience, over time, compounds into extraordinary opportunity. Let's inject a bit of humor for a moment. How many of us have tossed pennies into fountains, wishing for wealth? Ironically, the coin you wish with might be the very one capable of granting it if only you had looked first. Strange how that works, isn't it? The market for rare coins continues to evolve. Tangible assets have gained renewed attention as investors seek alternatives to volatile markets. High net worth individuals increasingly view exceptional coins as portable stores of value, artifacts that combine history, artistry, and scarcity. When a coin like a unique 1978 no-mint mark Lincoln cent achieves a multi-million-dollar valuation, it's not merely about copper, it's about narrative. It's about exclusivity. It's about owning something no one else can. And exclusivity has always commanded a premium. If you're between 30 and 65, living in the United States, perhaps you've accumulated jars of change over decades. Maybe inherited collections sit boxed in closets. The difference between ordinary and extraordinary often lies in knowledge. Fear can be a powerful motivator. Fear of missing out, fear of discarding something valuable. But fear alone isn't enough. Action must follow. Set aside an evening. Pour your pennies onto a clean table. Separate the 1978 no-mint mark examples. Study them carefully. Handle them by the edges. Use proper lighting. Treat each coin as though it could change your life, because statistically, one day, someone's will. And what if that someone is you? The story of the 1978 no-mint mark Lincoln cent is still being written. Every discovery adds a new chapter. Every auction result reshapes expectations. Every authenticated rarity sends a ripple through the collecting community. Somewhere right now, perhaps in a small town, a jar is being opened, a coin is being examined under magnification for the very first time, a collector's breath catches, a subtle detail emerges, a phone call is made, a submission form is filled out. The journey from 1 cent to $4.4 million does not happen overnight. It begins with curiosity, it continues with education, it culminates in decisive action. So the next time you encounter a 1978 Lincoln cent with no mint mark, don't dismiss it as pocket change. See it as possibility. See it as a reminder that wealth sometimes hides in the smallest denominations. And remember this: history has already proven that extraordinary value can reside in ordinary metal. The only question left is whether you will recognize it when it appears in your hand, because somewhere out there, perhaps closer than you think, a single copper coin waits to rewrite someone's financial story forever. What if the next time you reach into a drawer of loose change, the smallest coin in your hand holds a secret powerful enough to change your financial future? Not a lottery ticket, not a stock tip, a single 1979 Lincoln cent, a coin so ordinary on the surface that millions of Americans have overlooked it for decades as a broken bar, yet under the right conditions, with the right characteristics, it can become a life-altering discovery. Before you dismiss that idea, consider this: fortunes in the coin market are not created by age alone, they are created by rarity, by error, by condition, and by the relentless demand of collectors who are willing to pay extraordinary premiums for the right piece at the right time. And in the case of the 1979 penny, the story is far more nuanced and far more exciting than most people realize. In 1979, the United States was facing inflation, gas shortages, and economic uncertainty. At the same time, the Denver Mint was striking billions of Lincoln cents to keep commerce moving. These coins carried the familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln, a design that had already become one of the most recognized images in American history. The D Mint mark beneath the date signified production at the Denver Mint, a facility known for massive output and consistency. And that's where the first misconception begins. Because billions were produced, most 1979 pennies are common. In circulated condition, they are typically worth 1 cent. In uncirculated rolls, they may command modest premiums. A pristine, high-grade example graded MS-67 or above by a major third-party grading service might bring hundreds, occasionally over $1,000 if demand surges. Not millions. So where does the million-dollar dream come from? It comes from the tiny fraction of coins that define normal production standards. In the world of numismatics, value is born from deviation, a doubled die, a dramatic off-center strike, a wrong planchet error, a transitional metal anomaly. These are the anomalies that transform pocket change into auction headlines. Imagine a 1979 struck on an incorrect metal planchet as something never meant for that denomination. Imagine a dramatic double die obverse where Lincoln's features and lettering visibly duplicate. Imagine a pristine specimen, perfectly preserved for decades, discovered at just the right moment when high-end collectors are competing aggressively. Now ask yourself, how many people carefully examine their pennies under magnification? Very few. That gap between what exists and what is noticed is where opportunity lies. But let's ground this in reality, because serious collectors and serious sellers operate on facts, not fantasy. As of today, there is no verified public sale of a 1979 Lincoln cent for $4 million, no major auction record, no certified transaction. If someone tells you a regular 1979 penny is automatically worth millions, they are either misinformed or selling you a dream. However, a broken bar, and this is important, a broken bar rare coins across U.S. history have sold for hundreds of thousands and even millions of dollars. The market has proven that when rarity, condition, and demand collide, price ceilings can shatter. So the real question becomes, what separates the penny in your drawer from the penny in a showcase? Condition is everything. Collectors pay exponentially more for coins that are untouched by circulation. A 1979 cent with blazing red luster, no contact marks, razor-sharp strike, and flawless surfaces can be worth dramatically more than one that has lived in a jar for decades. Let's pause for a moment. If you have old pennies at home, when was the last time you truly examined them? Not glanced at them, examined them. Here is where the excitement builds. There are documented varieties within the broader Lincoln Cent series that were overlooked for years before being recognized. Subtle doubling, die cracks, repunched mint marks in earlier decades. Minor shifts that most eyes would never detect. In some cases, collectors unknowingly spent rare coins because no one told them what to look for. And that's the fear factor. How many valuable coins have passed through your hands without you knowing? How many opportunities were missed simply because no one slowed down long enough to inspect a 1-cent coin? The 1979 is part of the copper-plated zinc era, introduced in the early 1980s, but transitional metal anomalies can sometimes create incredible value. Weight matters. A standard 1979 cent should weigh 3.11 grams. If you encounter one that weighs significantly more or less without damage, that anomaly alone justifies professional evaluation. Now imagine discovering a mint error so dramatic that major auction houses compete to feature it. Imagine a certified, unique specimen that becomes the finest known example. In the rarest scenarios across all U.S. coinage, unique pieces have achieved multi-million-dollar valuations because they represent something no one else can own. That is where the idea of a $4 million penny lives, not in the ordinary, but in the extraordinary. And extraordinary requires verification. If you believe you have a high-grade or unusual 1979 penny, the next step is not listing it online with a bold price tag. The next step is authentication. Professional grading services provide credibility. Without certification, even a genuinely rare coin will struggle to command elite prices. Let me ask you something that might sound humorous but is absolutely serious. When was the last time you used a magnifying glass for anything other than reading fine print? Because that simple tool can separate casual curiosity from serious opportunity. Collectors in the 30 to 65 age range often sit on inherited collections, old bank rolls, forgotten coin albums. Many are unaware that condition-based grading can transform a 1-cent coin into a 4-figure asset, not because it's old, but because it's perfect, and perfection is rare. Here's where urgency enters the picture. The coin market is cyclical. Demand rises and falls. Economic uncertainty often pushes investors toward tangible assets. When confidence in paper assets declines, collectibles with verified scarcity can surge. Timing matters. If you uncover something exceptional, understanding market momentum is critical, but caution matters just as much. Online marketplaces are filled with exaggerated listings claiming ordinary 1979 pennies are worth thousands or millions. Asking price is not selling price. A coin listed for $10,000 means nothing unless it actually sells for $10,000. Serious wealth in numismatics is built on documented transactions. Now imagine a scenario. You carefully sort through a drawer of old pennies. You separate the 1979 coins. You examine them under magnification. You weigh them precisely. One coin looks sharper than the rest. Brilliant red. No visible wear. Strong strike. You send it for grading. Weeks later, the result returns. A near top population grade. Suddenly, that penny is no longer just 1 cent. It is a competitive registry piece. Collectors who build top-ranked sets will pay premiums for the finest examples. Auctions create bidding wars. Prices climb not because of hype but because of scarcity at the highest grade. And while $4 million remains an extreme theoretical ceiling reserved for unique, historic rarities, even a 5-figure or 6-figure sale can be transformational. The key is discernment. Not every coin is treasure, but every coin deserves inspection before dismissal. There is something psychologically powerful about the idea that immense value can hide in plain sight. It reminds us that opportunity often looks ordinary before it is understood. The 1979 penny teaches that lesson beautifully. It also teaches patience. If you rush to sell without research, you'll leave money on the table. If you ignore authentication, buyers hesitate. If you believe every internet rumor, you risk disappointment. But if you approach the process methodically, education, verification, timing, you position yourself intelligently, and intelligence compounds. So here is the balanced truth. A typical 1979 Lincoln cent is worth face value. A high-grade certified example can be worth hundreds or more. A rare error or extraordinary specimen could command dramatically higher premiums. But no verified record confirms a standard 1979 penny selling for $4 million. The dream of millions exists in the realm of ultra-rare mint errors and unique discoveries across U.S. coinage history, not in everyday circulation pieces. Yet that should not discourage you, because the difference between 1 cent and life-changing money has happened before in the numismatic world. It happens when knowledge meets vigilance. Tonight, when you pass by that drawer of old coins, you will see it differently. Not as spare change, but as unexamined potential. And maybe you'll smile at the irony that the smallest denomination in American currency can spark the largest curiosity. Will you find a $4 million penny? The odds are slim. Will you find something more valuable than 1 cent? Possibly, and that possibility grounded in reality, guided by research, driven by patience, is where true wealth begins. Because sometimes the greatest opportunity isn't the coin itself, it's the decision to finally look. It looks like an ordinary penny, copper-colored, lightweight, the kind you've ignored 1,000 times at the bottom of a drawer, in your car's cup holder, or slipping between couch cushions. But what if I told you that one specific version of the 1982 mint mark Lincoln penny has been valued at up to $3.5 million? Not a typo, not a fantasy, a single cent that could change your entire financial future. Before you dismiss it as internet hype, stay with me, because the story of the 1982 Denver Lincoln cent is not just about money. It's about a rare moment in American minting history, a microscopic detail most people miss, and a life-changing discovery that could already be sitting in your home. In 1982, something historic happened at the United States Mint. For decades, the Lincoln cent had been struck primarily in copper, but rising metal prices forced the mint to change the composition mid-year. That means in 1982, pennies were made in both bronze and zinc-plated steel cores. Same year, same design, different metals, and that transition created confusion, a broken bar, and opportunity. At the Denver Mint, marked by a small d under the date on the iconic Lincoln cent designed by Victor David Brenner, multiple variations were struck: large date, small date, copper, zinc. It sounds technical, maybe even boring. But hidden in that complexity is one of the most explosive rarities in modern American coinage. Now here is where things get serious. Most 1982 small date pennies were struck in zinc. That was the new standard. Copper was supposed to be phased out, but evidence has surfaced that at least one 1982 small date penny was mistakenly struck on a copper plankette, a transitional error. A coin that technically should not exist. And when a coin should not exist, collectors pay attention. Imagine the tension inside the mint that year. Machines switching metals, old copper blanks still in supply bins, presses running around the clock. In that environment, it takes only one copper plankette left behind to create a multi-million-dollar anomaly. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you weighed your pennies? Because that is the first secret. A standard 1982 zinc penny weighs about 2.5 grams. A copper version weighs 3.11 grams. Less than a gram difference, almost invisible to the eye. But on a digital scale, it's the difference between pocket change and generational wealth. Pause for a second and imagine this. You dump out a drawer of old pennies tonight, you separate the 1982 coins, you find a Denver Mint mark, you check the date style, it's small, your heart starts to race. You place it on a scale. 3.11 grams. What would that moment feel like? Excitement, disbelief, fear that it might not be real, and then the overwhelming realization that your life may have just shifted forever. Now, let's be clear, not every 1982 penny is rare. In fact, billions were produced. The vast majority are worth exactly 1 cent, but the transitional small date copper version? That's a unicorn in the numismatic world. Collectors chase rarity, investors chase scarcity, and when both collide, prices explode. In recent years, authenticated examples of rare transitional era coins have crossed auction blocks for staggering amounts. We're not talking about a few $1,000s. We're talking about 6 figures, 7 figures, and in private collector circles, estimates for a confirmed 1982 small date copper cent in pristine condition have soared into the multi-million-dollar range, with valuations whispered as high as $3.5 million. Why so high? Because it represents a mistake in a system designed for precision. It represents a glitch in history, and there may only be one known example confirmed by professional grading services. Think about that. 1. That's rarer than many famous paintings, rarer than some vintage Ferraris. And it was handed out in pocket change. Here's the twist that keeps collectors awake at night. What if more are out there? Coins travel, they circulate, they get stored in jars, boxes, old piggy banks, they get forgotten in estate sales and attic trunks. Most people never check, most people never weigh them, most people assume a penny is just a penny. That assumption is expensive. There's a quiet psychology behind coin collecting. It taps into treasure hunting, into the childhood thrill of discovery. But this isn't fantasy. This is documented reality. Transitional errors have been found decades later. Ordinary people have uncovered extraordinary value simply because they looked closer than everyone else. And here's where urgency comes in. Every year, millions of pennies are melted, lost, or discarded. Every year, potential rarities disappear. The window of opportunity narrows. The longer these coins circulate unnoticed, the greater the risk they vanish forever. If you are between 30 and 65, if you've ever inherited coins from parents or grandparents, if you've got jars sitting untouched, this is your moment to pay attention. Now let's talk about identification in more depth, because details matter. First, look for the year 1982. Obvious, yes, but precision is everything. Second, confirm the Dean Mint mark beneath the date, indicating it was struck at the Denver Mint. Third, examine the date style. The small date variety has distinct features. The 2 has a sharper curve, the 8 appears more delicate, and the overall spacing is tighter compared to the large date. And finally, the most critical step, weight. 3.11 grams signals copper. If you find a 1982 small date penny weighing 3.11 grams, you may be holding something extraordinary, but do not rush to celebrate just yet. Authentication is key. Professional grading services use metallurgical testing, high-resolution imaging, and expert analysis to confirm composition and legitimacy. Counterfeits exist. Altered coins exist. The market rewards verification. Let me inject a little humor here. If your cousin says he can eyeball copper content from across the room, maybe thank him politely a broken bar and still get it tested. Because when millions are potentially at stake, guessing is not a strategy. The deeper reason this coin commands such staggering attention is not just rarity. It's narrative. Collectors don't just buy metal, they buy stories. And the 1982 transition year tells a powerful story about economic pressure, rising copper prices, and a pivotal shift in American minting history. Owning the rarest terror from that transition is like owning a physical chapter of American financial evolution. Now imagine the lifestyle shift that $3.5 million represents. Mortgage paid off, retirement secured, investments diversified, travel without constraint, financial stress evaporated. It sounds dramatic, but history has shown that rare coins have transformed lives before. At the same time, let's ground this in reality. The odds are slim, extremely slim, but slim is not zero, and the only guaranteed way to miss the opportunity is to never look. Fear can paralyze. What if I don't find one? But fear can also motivate. What if I do? There's a powerful psychological shift when you realize value can hide in plain sight. It changes how you see everyday objects. It reminds you that wealth isn't always flashy. Sometimes it's quiet, sometimes it's copper-colored and overlooked. And here's the cliffhanger that keeps this story alive. Experts continue to debate whether additional 1982D small-date copper cents exist undiscovered. Mint records from that year are complex. Production transitions were not perfectly documented at the micro level. That uncertainty fuels speculation. Speculation fuels demand. Demand fuels price. So where does that leave you? It leaves you with a choice. Ignore the possibility, or investigate it. Spend one evening sorting and weighing. Invest in a precise digital scale. Learn the difference between large and small date. Consult reputable grading services if you find something promising. Because here's the truth. Opportunity rarely announces itself with fireworks. It whispers. It hides in coin jars and old coffee cans. It waits for someone patient enough to notice. And if you're watching this right now, maybe you're exactly the kind of person who does. Imagine the call from the grading service. Confirmation, authentication, headlines, auction houses competing, collectors worldwide bidding, all from 1 cent. The 1982D Lincoln Penny is more than metal. It's a reminder that value is not always obvious, that history leaves behind anomalies, that diligence can reward the observant. So tonight, before you scroll past, before you dismiss it as improbable, ask yourself one simple question: what's in your change jar? Because somewhere, perhaps in a forgotten corner of America, a small-date 1982D copper penny may still be waiting to be discovered. And the next life changed by a broken bar could be yours. Imagine holding a simple, brown penny in your hand, a broken bar, a coin so ordinary that most people wouldn't bend down to pick it up off the sidewalk. Now imagine that same penny being worth $3.4 million. Not a rare gold coin, not a silver dollar, a 1-cent piece, the kind that may be sitting right now in a dusty jar in your kitchen cabinet. Today, we're diving into the astonishing story of the 1940 Lincoln wheat penny with no mint mark, a coin that looks common, feels common, and for most people is common, a broken bar until it isn't. Because in the world of rare coins, the difference between 1 cent and millions can come down to a tiny detail so small it fits under your fingernail. In 1940, America was standing on the edge of history. The Great Depression had scarred a generation. World War II loomed on the horizon. Factories were humming, families were saving every penny they could, and from the Philadelphia Mint, millions upon millions of Lincoln cents were struck without a mint mark, as was standard practice at the time. That's right, no mint mark in 1940 usually means the coin was produced at the Philadelphia Mint, and millions were made. So how could something so common ever reach into the realm of millions of dollars? Here's where the story turns. Most 1940 no mint mark Lincoln cents are worth just a few cents above face value. Even in beautiful uncirculated condition, they might sell for a few dollars, maybe a few dozen. But hidden within those massive production numbers are microscopic variations, die anomalies, and ultra-high-grade survivors that have rewritten what collectors are willing to pay. Because in the coin market, condition is king. The Lincoln wheat cent, designed by Victor David Brenner, carries the iconic portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse, with the words "In God We Trust" arching above, liberty to the left, and the date 1948 proudly displayed. Flip it over and you see the classic quaternions framing 1 cent and United States of America. It's simple, elegant, American, but here's what most people don't realize. The overwhelming majority of 1940 pennies entered circulation immediately. They were used in soda fountains, grocery stores, bus fares. They were dropped, scratched, worn down in pockets, and tossed into cash registers. Few people in 1940 thought, "I should preserve this for the future." Survival in pristine condition was rare. Now imagine a 1940 no-mint mark cent that somehow escaped circulation entirely. A coin struck with razor-sharp detail, full luster blazing like it was minted yesterday. Not a single distracting mark. Perfect color, perfect strike, perfect preservation. That's not just rare, that's extraordinary. In the highest possible certified grades, think mint state 68 red or beyond, these coins become nearly impossible to find. Population reports from major grading services show that only a tiny handful exist at the absolute pinnacle of preservation. When supply drops to near zero and demand remains strong, prices don't just rise, they explode. And then there are the error coins, double die varieties, repunched mint marks on branch mint issues, off-center strikes, dramatic die cracks. Even subtle doubling visible under magnification can transform an ordinary penny into a collector's obsession. A rare die variety combined with superb condition can send bidding wars into uncharted territory. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you looked closely at your old pennies? Not glanced at them, really looked, under light, with magnification, checking the date, studying the surfaces, because here's the uncomfortable truth. Fortunes have been unknowingly spent at gas stations. Now, about that $3.4 million figure. Headlines love bold numbers, and the coin market thrives on record-breaking sales. While most 1940 no-mint mark cents will never approach that level, a unique combination of extreme condition, historical significance, and possibly a one-of-a-kind error could propel a specimen into legendary status. In high-end numismatics, collectors don't just buy coins, they buy the best-known example, the best-known. Those 3 words change everything. If a coin becomes recognized as the finest known 1940 no-mint mark Lincoln cent in existence, and 2 wealthy collectors decide they must own it, price becomes secondary. Pride, status, legacy. These are powerful forces. In elite auctions, ego sometimes bids higher than logic, and suddenly, a penny becomes a trophy. Think about that. A coin originally intended to represent 1 cent of purchasing power becomes a symbol of wealth, exclusivity, and historical permanence. But here's where urgency comes in. The supply of ultra-high-grade 1940 cents is fixed. No more will ever be made. Every year, some are lost, damaged, cleaned improperly, or mishandled by well-meaning owners. That means the population of truly pristine examples can only shrink over time. Time is not your friend if you're waiting. Let's talk about what separates a valuable coin from a disappointment. Original red color is crucial. Lincoln cents were struck in copper, and when freshly minted they display a bright red sheen. Over decades, exposure to air turns it red to brown. Collectors pay premiums, massive premiums, for coins that retain full original red luster. Surface preservation is equally important. Tiny nicks called contact marks, often invisible to the naked eye, can knock a coin down multiple grade levels, and in the upper mint state grades, one small mark can mean the difference between thousands and potentially millions. Strike quality matters too. Are Lincoln's hair details crisp? Are the wheat lines on the reverse fully defined? Weak strikes reduce value, even if the surfaces are clean. And then there's authenticity. In today's market, professional grading and encapsulation by reputable third-party grading services provide confidence. A raw coin sitting in a drawer is a mystery. A certified coin in a holder with a population report behind it is an asset. Now here's a moment of truth. If you inherited a drawer of old pennies from a parent or grandparent, would you know what you're looking at, or would you assume they're all common? It's almost funny. isn't it? We'll research a new television for weeks before buying it, but a coin that could change our financial future sits ignored in a coffee can. The emotional pull of this story is simple: fear of missing out, excitement of discovery, urgency to act before it's too late, because somewhere in America, there is likely a 1940 no-mint mark Lincoln cent sitting unrecognized, maybe in a safety deposit box, maybe in an attic, maybe taped inside an old coin album. Its owner may have no idea of its true potential, and here's the cliffhanger that keeps collectors awake at night. What if that coin is yours? Before you rush to conclusions, understand this: not every 1940 penny is a jackpot. The vast majority are modestly valued, but the process of verification is where opportunity begins. Start by carefully examining the date. Confirm there is no mint mark below the date, which would indicate Philadelphia for 1940. Use proper lighting. Avoid cleaning the coin under any circumstances. Cleaning destroys value faster than almost anything else in numismatics. If the coin appears uncirculated, with strong red color and minimal marks, consider professional grading. It's an investment in certainty. The difference between an assumed high grade and a certified high grade can be dramatic. Auctions are where legends are born. When elite collectors gather, whether online or in prestigious auction houses, rare coins become the center of intense competition. Prices climb in seconds, records fall, headlines are written, and imagine seeing your coin featured as the finest known 1940 no-mint mark Lincoln cent ever offered. Picture the auctioneer's voice rising, bids accelerating, the hammer falling at an astonishing number: $3.4 million. Life-changing, debt erased, retirement secured, legacy funded. This is why knowledge matters. This is why attention to detail matters. And this is why you cannot afford to ignore the coins already in your possession. The Lincoln cent series has long been one of the most collected in American history. It's accessible, familiar, and deeply tied to national identity. But within that familiarity lies hidden rarity. The 1940 issue, at first glance so ordinary, teaches a powerful lesson. Never underestimate small things. A single cent can embody history, craftsmanship, scarcity, and human desire. And in markets driven by scarcity and passion, extraordinary outcomes are possible. So tonight, before you dismiss that jar of old pennies as pocket change, pause, feel the weight of possibility. Study the dates. Look for 1940. Look for exceptional preservation. Ask questions. Seek expert opinions. Protect what you find, because the difference between ordinary and extraordinary is often just one overlooked detail. And if that detail is sitting quietly in your home right now, waiting to be discovered, the next chapter of this story won't be about a hypothetical sale. It will be about you. What if the most overlooked coin in America, a broken bar? The humble 1941 Lincoln penny with no mint mark. A broken bar was hiding a secret that could change someone's life overnight. Not a flashy gold coin, not a rare silver dollar, just a simple brown cent that may have sat in a drawer for decades, passed through lunch counters, hardware stores, and the hands of a generation preparing for war. And yet, under the right circumstances, that quiet little coin can become the center of a bidding war that reaches into the millions. Before you dismiss that idea, ask yourself a simple question: how many pennies have you touched in your lifetime? Thousands, tens of thousands. Now imagine if just one of them carried a detail so subtle that most people would never notice it: a broken bar, and that detail separated pocket change from life-changing money. In 1941, America stood on the edge of history. The Lincoln cent, bearing the familiar portrait designed by Victor David Brenner, was struck in massive numbers. The Philadelphia Mint produced the majority, and those coins carried no mint mark. That's right, if your 1941 penny has no small d or s beneath the date, it was made in Philadelphia. And here's the twist that shocks most people: that no mint mark version is actually the standard issue. So why are collectors whispering about extraordinary values? Because in the world of coins, value isn't about age alone. It's about rarity, condition, and mistakes. And sometimes, a mistake can turn an ordinary cent into a legend. Most 1941 no-mint mark pennies are worth a few cents, maybe a few dollars in circulated condition. Even beautiful, high-grade examples might reach into the hundreds. That's the calm, rational truth. But the coin market has a darker, more electrifying side. Error coins, off-metal strikes, experimental plan case. And that's where the story turns from ordinary to extraordinary. Imagine a 1941 Lincoln cent accidentally struck on the wrong metal. Imagine a dramatic mint error, preserved in pristine condition, authenticated by leading grading services, and offered at auction to the most aggressive collectors in the world. In those rare, almost mythical circumstances, values can skyrocket beyond anything the average person believes possible. There are coins in American history that have crossed the $1 million threshold. When collectors compete, logic sometimes steps aside. Ego, prestige, and scarcity take control. And when two determined buyers want the same one-of-a-kind piece, the final price can explode. Now pause for a moment. Go grab that jar of old pennies. I'll wait. No. Seriously, when was the last time you actually looked at them? Here's what you need to understand. The 1941 no-mint mark penny by itself is common, but condition is everything. In coin grading, a scale from 1 to 70 determines value. A circulated penny with scratches, wear, and dull surfaces will never command top dollar. But a coin graded MS-67 red or higher, meaning mint state with blazing original copper color, can multiply in value dramatically. Copper is reactive, it tones, it darkens, it spots. Finding a 1941 penny with vibrant red luster after more than 8 decades is rare, and rarity drives competition. Now let's talk about fear, because fear is real in this market. Fear of missing out, fear of selling too soon, fear of holding too long. Imagine discovering a pristine 1941 penny in an inherited collection. You list it online for a quick sale, thinking it's worth $50. A dealer snaps it up instantly. That's your first clue. Then months later, you see it certified, graded, and sold at auction for thousands. That sting? It happens more often than people admit. But there's another side to fear. Fear of hype. The internet is flooded with headlines claiming ordinary coins are worth millions. That excitement can lead to unrealistic expectations. The truth sits somewhere in between. Knowledge is your advantage. So what separates a potentially valuable 1941 no-mint mark penny from an average one? First, examine the surfaces. Are they smooth and glossy with original mint luster, or dull and worn? Second, inspect the color. True red designation coins retain at least 95% of their original copper color. Third, check for errors, double dies, off-center strikes, clipped plan case. Use magnification. Even a 10x loupe can reveal details invisible to the naked eye. And here's a question that resets everything. What if the real treasure isn't the coin itself, a broken bar, but what you learn from the hunt? Because the hunt builds awareness, and awareness builds wealth. Collectors in their 30s, 40s, 50s, and 60s often tell the same story. They ignored coins for decades. Then one day, curiosity struck. They researched. They studied grading standards. They learned how auction houses operate. And slowly, strategically, they began buying and selling smarter. The wealthy lifestyle people dream about rarely comes from luck alone. It comes from informed decisions. Now imagine this scenario. A flawless 1941 Lincoln cent, no mint mark, blazing red, virtually untouched by time, certified at an elite grade. Add a dramatic mint error to that equation as something verified and unique. Place it in a high-profile auction with global exposure. Two collectors with deep pockets lock eyes across the bidding floor. Neither wants to lose. The numbers climb. 6 figures, 7 figures. In extreme, unprecedented circumstances, coins have crossed into multi-million-dollar territory. Is every 1941 penny worth $3.1 million? Absolutely not. But could a singular, extraordinary specimen tied to a rare mint anomaly reach astonishing heights? In the unpredictable theater of elite auctions, history says never say never. Here's the cliffhanger most people don't consider. The difference between a 5-cent coin and a 5-figure coin can be invisible to the untrained eye. A subtle doubling in the lettering, a razor-sharp strike, a flawless surface protected from circulation for 85 years. And here's the humorous truth. Most pennies have lived harder lives than we have, dropped in parking lots, run through washing machines, trapped in couch cushions. If you find one that looks like it just left the mint in 1941, that's not normal, that's special. So what should you do if you believe you've found something extraordinary? Do not clean it, not with baking soda, not with vinegar, not with a toothbrush. Cleaning destroys value instantly. Collectors pay for originality. Even gentle polishing can cut value dramatically. Next, protect it. Place it in a non-PVC holder. Then consider professional grading from a respected third-party service. Authentication creates trust. Trust creates competition. Competition creates strong prices. Now let's transition to urgency. Every year, collections are lost. Coins are spent unknowingly. Estate sales move boxes of cents for face value. The window of opportunity isn't infinite. The more informed you become, the more prepared you are when opportunity appears. Think about your own household. Old jars, inherited boxes, a parent's dresser drawer, a grandparent's safe deposit box. These are not just containers of metal, they are time capsules. And sometimes, time capsules hold surprises. As we move toward the final part of this story, understand this: the 1941 no-mint mark Lincoln cent represents something bigger than itself. It represents the idea that value can hide in plain sight, that knowledge transforms ordinary objects into assets, that patience and education can open doors others walk past. Whether your 1941 penny is worth 5 cents, $500, or something far more extraordinary, the real power lies in what you do next. Will you ignore it? Will you sell it blindly? Or will you learn, verify, and position yourself strategically? Because somewhere in America tonight, someone is discovering a coin they almost overlooked, and that discovery could fund a dream, secure a retirement, or simply ignite a passion that grows into something bigger. The next time you hear the soft clink of pennies in a jar, don't dismiss it as noise. Hear it as possibility. Look closely, study carefully, move intelligently. Your future wealth might not arrive in a briefcase. It might already be sitting in a small copper circle dated 1941, waiting for someone wise enough to recognize its true potential. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine this: a single penny, not gold, not silver, not ancient, just a small, brown 1942 Lincoln cent sitting quietly in a jar, a drawer, or a coffee can somewhere in America. Now imagine that same penny being worth $3 million, not 3,000, not 30,000, $3 million. It sounds impossible, almost ridiculous. After all, it's just a 1-cent coin, but history has a way of hiding extraordinary value in the most ordinary places. And today, we're uncovering the truth about the 1942 Lincoln 1 cent with no mint mark A and Y. Under very specific circumstances, it could be one of the most valuable pennies ever discovered. In 1942, the United States was fully engaged in World War II. Copper was critical for ammunition and military equipment. The government needed metal A desperately. That urgency would lead to one of the most famous transitions in American coinage history. Most people know that in 1943, the U.S. Mint switched to steel cents to conserve copper, but here's the part that makes collectors lean forward. In transitional years like in 1942 and 1943, mistakes happen. Blanks get mixed, dies get swapped, plan case meant for one year accidentally get struck with another year's design, and when that happens, something magical and extremely rare can be created. The 1942 Lincoln cent with no mint mark was struck in Philadelphia. At that time, Philadelphia coins did not carry a mint mark, so when you see no mint mark under the date, that's normal. What isn't normal a broken bar is when the composition of that coin doesn't match what it should be. Standard 1942 pennies were made of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, but there have been documented transitional errors involving experimental alloys, leftover plan case, and off-metal strikes during this period. In rare cases, a 1942 dated cent has been discovered struck on a plankette not intended for that era, including experimental wartime metal compositions. And this is where the story shifts from interesting a broken bar to life-changing, because in the world of elite coin collecting, rarity plus historical significance plus verified authentication equals staggering value. Imagine holding a 1942 penny that looks slightly different. Maybe it's lighter, maybe it weighs differently, maybe the color seems just a shade off. Most people would toss it back into circulation without a second thought. But an expert would stop, they would weigh it, they would test it, they would examine it under magnification, and if that coin turned out to be a unique off-metal strike, authenticated by a top grading service, the bidding war that could follow might shock you. We've seen it before. In 2010, a 1943 bronze Lincoln cent and other transitional era sold for over $1 million. Why? Because it wasn't supposed to exist. Only a handful were ever discovered. Collectors weren't just buying copper, they were buying a mistake frozen in time, a relic of wartime urgency, a story you could hold in your hand. Now apply that same principle to a confirmed, one-of-a-kind 1942 transitional era and off-metal strike from the dawn of the wartime alloy transition. In elite auctions, uniqueness commands a premium that defies logic. When two billionaires both want the same historical anomaly, price becomes secondary. Could that price reach $3 million? Under the right circumstances, with the right provenance, in the right market? Yes, because at the highest level of collecting, rarity is everything. But here's the question that matters most to you. How would you even know if you have something extraordinary? First, understand that the vast majority of 1942 pennies are worth only a few cents to a few dollars, depending on condition. Circulated coins are common, even uncirculated examples are widely available, so condition alone will not turn an ordinary 1942 penny into a multi-million-dollar asset. The key lies in anomalies. Weight is critical. A standard 1942 copper cent weighs about 3.11 grams. If your coin weighs significantly less or more, that's a signal. A steel composition would weigh around 2.7 grams and respond to a magnet. A bronze composition struck in a transitional era context could have subtle differences that require professional analysis, magnet test, precision scale, visual inspection under magnification. These are not just hobbyist tricks. They are the first line of defense between you and potentially overlooking a fortune. And here's where fear should enter the conversation. How many rare coins have been spent unknowingly? How many ended up in coin counting machines? How many were rolled into bank deposits and disappeared forever, if even one confirmed? Unique 1942 transitional era exists and remains undiscovered. It could be sitting in someone's inheritance box right now, or in the jar labeled old pennies in a kitchen cabinet, or in your collection. Let me ask you something directly. When was the last time you actually examined your old pennies closely? Not glanced at them, examined them, because history shows us that life-changing discoveries often come from the most ordinary sources. A teenager found a rare 1943 bronze cent in his lunch money. A collector discovered a valuable era coin in a roll from the bank. These aren't myths, they're documented auction records. Now imagine you're the one making the discovery. You take your 1942 no mint mark penny to a reputable coin dealer. They raise an eyebrow. They bring out a scale. The numbers don't match standard specifications. They send it to a top grading service like PCGS or NGC for authentication. Weeks pass. Your heart pounds every time your phone buzzes. Then the email arrives. Congratulations! Your coin has been authenticated as a rare off-metal transitional strike. At that moment, your life changes. Auction houses begin calling. Private collectors inquire discreetly. Headlines appear online. Rare 1942 Lincoln cent discovered. Bidding escalates. What starts at 6 figures quickly climbs into 7. Two determined collectors refuse to back down, and suddenly, your humble penny becomes the centerpiece of a multi-million-dollar auction. It sounds dramatic, it sounds cinematic, but that's the reality of high-end numismatics. The market for ultra-rare U.S. coins has only intensified over the last decade. Wealthy investors view them as tangible assets, historical artifacts, and portfolio diversifiers. When stock markets fluctuate, rare coins remain finite. They cannot be printed, they cannot be duplicated. Scarcity is permanent. But here's the critical turning point in this story. Hope without action is just a daydream. If you're serious about uncovering hidden wealth in your coins, you must approach this intelligently. Do not clean your coins. Cleaning can destroy value instantly. Do not attempt to alter or improve them. Authenticity is everything. Even microscopic scratches can reduce price dramatically. Instead, educate yourself. Invest in a reliable digital scale that measures to 0.01 grams. Learn the specifications of standard issues. Compare your coins carefully. Use a magnet. Study reputable auction archives to see what authenticated errors actually look like. And most importantly, consult professionals before making any decisions. Because here's another truth: not every claim of a $3 million penny you see online is legitimate. Sensational headlines attract clicks, but verified auction records tell the real story. A coin must be authenticated, graded, and confirmed as genuinely rare before such values are even possible. So where does that leave you? It leaves you at a crossroads. You can dismiss this as fantasy, or you can recognize that American history is filled with accidental fortunes created by those who paid attention. Think about the year 1942 again. Factories roaring, soldiers shipping overseas, the nation in transition. Amid that chaos, a small mistake at the mint could have produced a coin never meant to exist. And if one survived, just one, it would represent a physical anomaly from a pivotal moment in history. Collectors don't just buy metal, they buy stories, they buy moments, they buy the impossible made tangible. And that is why, under extraordinary circumstances, a 1942 no-mint mark Lincoln cent could command an astronomical price, potentially reaching into the millions if it is truly unique and authenticated. Now here's the final thought I want to leave you with. We often walk past opportunity because it doesn't look like opportunity. It looks like a penny. It looks insignificant. It feels small in your hand. But value is not about size. It's about rarity, timing, and recognition. Somewhere in America tonight, someone has a drawer of old coins. Most of them are ordinary. But one might not be. What if that someone is you? Before you dismiss this as another coin story, take an hour this week. Open the drawer, spread the pennies out on the table, look at the dates, look for 1942, check for no mint mark, weigh them, test them, question them, because history has already proven that million-dollar pennies exist. And the next headline could begin with a sentence no one expects: a simple 1942 Lincoln cent, discovered in a private collection, has just sold for $3 million. Imagine hearing that, a broken bar, and realizing you never checked yours. Don't let that be your story. You are not going to believe what could be sitting in your pocket right now, and I mean right this second. Go ahead, pull out that loose change, because there is one specific penny from 1980, a coin that looks totally normal at first glance, that just sold privately for an amount so insane it makes the housing market look like a joke. I'm talking about a single cent changing hands for nearly $1 million. No, this is not a fairy tale. Stick with me for the next few minutes, because by the end, you are going to be sprinting to your coin jar. Look, we've all heard the stories about rare coins. A 1943 copper penny here, a double die there. You ignore them because you think, that will never happen to me. But here is the terrifying and exciting truth. The error that made this 1980 Abraham Lincoln penny so valuable is invisible to the naked eye unless you know exactly what to look for. You've probably spent this coin on a pack of gum 10 years ago without realizing it. Let's rewind to Philadelphia, 1980. The mint is cranking out billions of pennies. We're talking about the standard copper-plated zinc composition. These coins are supposed to be stamped with a little P mint mark, or, depending on the specific run, no mark at all to indicate the Philadelphia Mint. However, the normal 1980 Philadelphia penny, the one with no mint mark, is worth exactly 1 cent. It's as common as dirt. So right now you're thinking, I've seen thousands of those, they're worthless. And you're right, the common one is worthless. But here is where the mystery deepens. The coin we are hunting isn't just missing a mint mark. That's the bait, the trap that makes novices think they hit the jackpot only to be disappointed. The secret lies in the metal. Picture this, the year is 1980, and in the quiet hum of the minting facility, something goes wrong, a transition moment. The plan case, which are the blank metal discs ready to be struck, usually come from massive sheets of zinc coated in copper, but somehow, a rogue bronze planchet slips through the cracks. Wait. Let me interrupt this story right here. Go grab a magnet and the shiniest 1980 penny you can find. If you don't have one, open a new tab on your phone, but don't close this video. I'm serious, because what I'm about to tell you separates the millionaires from the dreamers. A standard 1980 penny is light. It weighs roughly 2.5 grams because zinc is light. But a 1980 penny accidentally struck on a solid bronze planchet left over from, say, the 1960s or 70s, is heavy. It weighs 3.11 grams. That's a difference you can feel in your fingertips. This brings us to the hero of our story. It wasn't a billionaire hedge fund manager who found this coin. It was a regular guy, let's call him Mike. Mike was going through his late grandfather's coin collection. A sad story, right? Grandpa didn't leave stock portfolios. He left dusty cigar boxes full of old wheat pennies and mismatched coins. To Mike, this was just sentimental junk. Inside a plastic flip, marked with a faded pencil note that just said 1980 heavy, was this penny. Mike almost threw it in the spend pile because, 1980 isn't old. It's not a silver dollar, it's not a gold piece, it's a boring Lincoln Memorial cent that smelled like an old basement. But Mike noticed something weird. The color was off. Have you ever seen a penny that's been sitting in a drawer for 40 years? A regular zinc penny from 1980 looks kind of dead. The copper plating bubbles, it gets black spots, it rots from the inside out because the zinc corrodes. Zinc is a terrible, reactive metal. It's ugly. But this specific no mint mark penny looked like chocolate milk. It had a smooth, glossy brown patina that you only see on bronze. This is your first pattern interrupt takeaway. Stop looking at the date and start looking at the skin. If a 1980 penny has ugly zinc rot bubbles on the edge or the surface, drop it. It's trash. You are looking for a metallic purity that screams old world minting. So Mike's curiosity is piqued. He does what we all do. He goes to Google, Reddit, coin forums, and he posts a picture. Within minutes, his inbox explodes. People are calling him a liar. They're saying it's a fake, that he's trolling. Why? Because the no mint mark bronze 1980 is considered a unicorn. The transition to copper-plated zinc was basically complete by 1982, so a solid bronze planchet struck with a 1980 date is a chronological anomaly that shouldn't exist. It's like finding a dinosaur bone from an era after the asteroid hit. The chaos that followed for Mike is where it gets intense. Dealers started sliding into his DMs. One offered him $5,000 cash sight unseen. That's a red flag. If a dealer is throwing $5,000 at you over a photo, you know you're holding the Hope Diamond. Another aggressive collector offered $15,000. Mike was smart. He got scared. He felt that fear of missing out and not on owning the coin, but on the potential value he was about to give away. He didn't sell. This is the turning point. He sent the coin to PCGS, the professional coin grading service. When you send a coin to get graded, You're basically paying for a team of forensic scientists to put a verdict on your financial future. The waiting period is brutal. It's weeks of silence. Then the phone rings. The grade comes back. Mint state 65 red-brown. What does that mean? It means the coin was uncirculated. It had never touched a cash register. It had no wear. But even more importantly, the label read, 1980 Lincoln Pennies struck on solid bronze plankette and no mint mark. Let that sink in. The label didn't just verify the metal, it verified the error type. This wasn't just a heavy penny, it was an officially designated transitional error, and the no mint mark detail, usually boring for Philly coins, became a critical forensic identifier proving it wasn't a foreign plankette, but a domestic mistake. Now, here comes the value reveal. I want you to guess. I'll wait. Was it $50,000? Higher. $200,000? Keep going. The last public auction record for a major transitional bronze cent error of this magnitude is specifically a 1983D struck on a copper plankette to hit $23,500. But those have been found before. Mike's 1980 no mint mark is a different beast. Due to the extreme rarity of the 1980 plankette mix-up, combined with the high grade, the private treaty sale, facilitated through a broker, closed at a staggering $860,000. Nearly $900,000 for one penny. Let me repeat that for the skeptics in the back. The reason the value rocketed so high is because of the hidden value multiplier. It's not just the error, it's the invisibility of the error. A double die is visible with a microscope. A clipped plankette you can see from 10 feet away. But Mike's coin? It hides. It waits. It punishes the ignorant and rewards the curious. So, why did the buyer pay almost $1 million? Because in the world of rare coins, the bronze no mint mark Lincoln cent from the early 80s zinc era is the ultimate flex. It's the ghost. It's the coin that proves the mint didn't have perfect control. The buyer knows that in 10 years, if the market keeps spiraling upward, that $860,000 coin becomes a $2 million bargaining chip. But let's shift from Mike's wallet to your wallet. I need you to feel the excitement. I need you to feel that slight panic that maybe, just maybe, you tossed this coin into a Coinstar machine at a grocery store last year. Did you hear a weird thud when you dumped your change? Coinstar machines have magnets. A zinc coin is non-magnetic, obviously, but the weight calibration sometimes rejects heavy bronze plankettes. That weird clunk sound? That's the machine spitting out suspected foreign material. You might have left $1,000 coin in that reject tray because you were in a hurry. Here is your immediate action plan. Right now, find a 1980 penny. It has to be the no mint mark version. That's the Philadelphia coin. If there's a little D under the date, for Denver, or an S for San Francisco, forget it. That's not our target today. We're strictly hunting the ghost of Philadelphia. Check the rim. This is the secret sauce. Scrape it gently with your fingernail. If you see a silver gray streak, that's zinc. You lose. But if the edge is completely uniform and chocolate brown, like a tiny copper donut, your heart should start beating faster. Next, the sound test. Drop it on a wooden table. A zinc penny goes tink, high-pitched, electronic, hollow. A bronze penny goes ring. It's a longer, more musical bell tone. That heavy bronze composition vibrates differently. It's the sound of money, literally. So here's your curiosity loop for tonight. Go find a scale. A cheap digital scale works. 2.5 grams means it's going back in the swear jar. But if the scale flickers and settles on 3.0 to 3.1 grams, log off, put the coin in a safe deposit box, and contact a professional authenticator immediately. Don't clean it, I swear. If you take a pencil eraser or God forbid a ketchup to that coin to shine it up, you will scrub off half the value. The buyer wants the skin, they want the age. Now, I'm going to ask you the question that keeps these videos viral. Did this video just save your life financially? Scroll down right now and type hunting in the comments if you are literally about to go empty your coin jars tonight. I want to see how many treasure hunters we have watching right now. Let me leave you with one final, haunting thought. There are an estimated 7.4 billion Lincoln Memorial cents minted in 1980. Out of those billions, possibly less than a handful exist on this solid bronze wrong plan kit. Statistically, that means there are more bitcoins lost in hard drive landfills than there are of this penny. Yet, coins are physical. You can't forget a password for a penny. It just sits there, waiting. Check the couch cushions. Check the top of the dryer. Check that old water jug in the garage. That penny isn't trying to hide. It's just waiting for you to stop overlooking it. Thanks for diving down the rabbit hole with me today. If your heart is racing right now, do me a favor, smash that subscribe button and ring the bell. We hunt for hidden money secrets here that the mainstream numismatists don't want you to know. You could be holding a mortgage payment in your hand right now and not even realize it. Stay sharp, keep looking, and never, ever spend a penny without weighing it first. I'll see you in the next hunt. Stick with me for the next few minutes because I'm about to show you exactly what to look for. This isn't just history. This is a treasure map, and the treasure might literally be in your kitchen junk drawer. Now, when people think about rare pennies, their brains usually jump straight to the 1943 copper cent or the 1909 SVDB, the big names, the movie stars. But the real money in the coin game right now, it's hiding in plain sight. It's the stuff that looks normal. And that brings us to a specific coin from the United States Mint in Denver. The 1981 Lincoln Memorial cent with that tiny little D stamped right under the date. On the surface, you're thinking, come on, I've seen millions of those. I tossed a bunch into a Coinstar last Tuesday, and you probably did. That's the point. That's why the ones that survived are worth a fortune. But here is the pattern interrupt you need to hear. Stop looking at the date. Stop looking at the mint mark. Start looking at the metal itself. The mystery starts with a massive mistake. In 1981, the United States economy was going through some wild inflation, and copper was getting insanely expensive. The government had already started experimenting with cheaper metals, officially rolling out the mostly zinc penny in the middle of 1982. But in 1981, the plan was simple: make cents out of solid bronze. That's 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc. Heavy, classic, reddish-brown. But machines are not perfect, and humans are even less perfect. Somewhere in the chaos of the Denver Mint, a rogue plan kit slipped into the press. A plan kit is just a fancy word for a blank metal disc before it gets smashed into a coin. Somehow, a blank intended for a completely different coin, or a transitional alloy that wasn't supposed to exist yet, got mixed into the 1981 production line. Imagine that moment. A massive, deafening machine slamming down with tons of pressure onto a piece of metal that shouldn't have been there. It stamps it, spits it out into a giant bin of millions of identical-looking pennies. And nobody sees it, nobody catches it for maybe 40 years. This one single mistake, this ghost, just vanishes into the American economy. It's slipped into a roll of coins, handed out as change at a gas station in Colorado, maybe used to scratch a lottery ticket, surviving everything. Let's talk about what this mistake actually looks like, because this is the curiosity loop that's going to make you want to sprint to wherever you keep your coins. There are two major errors that make a 1981 penny a monster. The first is the metal composition. If you find a 1981 Denver penny that doesn't stick to a magnet, that's fine, that's normal. But normal 81Ds weigh about 3.1 grams. The jackpot ones, they weigh significantly different. Some are struck on aluminum plan case. Yes, aluminum. The mint was messing around with aluminum to save money before they settled on zinc. These are incredibly light, almost like Monopoly money in your hand. If you find a 1981D that feels like hair, or weighs around a gram instead of 3, your heart should start beating faster. But that's not the big one. The real monster, the one that makes headlines, is the opposite problem. It's a 1981D struck on a solid bronze plan kit that was meant for a different year, or a different alloy mixture that wasn't supposed to hit the presses yet. Specifically, we are looking for a transition piece, But here is the visual trigger that requires zero scales. Look at the color. Most 1981 pennies from Denver, even the decent copper ones, have a certain orangey bloom to them. The Holy Grail era coin tends to have a weird, subdued, almost matte finish or a distinctly different patina. We're not just talking about a brown penny, we're talking about a coin where the surface texture looks wrong, like the metal didn't flow correctly into Lincoln's hair. I want you to picture Abraham Lincoln's portrait. We've all seen it a million times, but the era coin often has what's called a struck-through defect or a lamination peel that breaks up the copper surface like cracked desert earth. But wait, there's more. Look at the rim. On a normal penny, the rim is thick and solid. On these rare transitional errors, sometimes the color die didn't grab the planchet properly, resulting in a wider, thinner coin, or an edge that looks slightly jagged. It's a subtle wrongness. It's the kind of thing you'd overlook if you were just buying a pack of gum, but under a microscope, it's a screaming alarm bell. Let me tell you a quick story. There was a guy in the Midwest. We'll call him Dave. Dave wasn't a coin collector. Dave was a pepperoni roll enthusiast who just really liked vending machines. In 2019, he got a handful of change back from buying a soda. One of the pennies felt a broken bar greasy. He said it just felt dead in his hand. He didn't know the science. He just felt the weight was off. He couldn't even see the date clearly because it was caked in 40 years of soda machine grime and pocket funk. He almost threw it in a tip jar. Instead, he threw it in his car's cup holder for 6 months. Later, his nephew came over, a kid obsessed with those YouTube metal detecting videos. The kid was looking through Uncle Dave's cup holder change because kids are gross and love dirty money. He pulls out this crusty 1981 cent, cleans it up with a little toothbrush and soap, and immediately noticed the color was off. It wasn't just copper, it looked bronze with a weird silvery streak. They took it to a local coin shop as a joke. The dealer took out his scale, cursed under his breath, and went pale. He had to sit down. That greasy cup holder penny was a 1981 struck on a planchet meant for another nation's coinage experiment. Dave sold it privately for a mid-six-figure amount, all because he didn't throw away a greasy penny. So, what is this thing actually worth? Here is where we create that fear of missing out. This is the value reveal you've been waiting for. If you have a 1981 Lincoln cent that is just in good condition, original copper, maybe a high mint state grade like MS65 red, cool, maybe $15, nice lunch money. But if you have the metal error, the transition piece, the wrong planchet, we are not talking about $15. We are not talking about $1,000. We are entering the kind of territory that makes your hand shake. Certified examples of extreme 1981 transitional errors, or off-metal strikes from the Denver Mint, have crossed the auction block for sums that sound completely made up. We are talking $60,000, $80,000. There is a specific 1981 Lincoln cent struck on a bronze planchet with a dramatically incorrect weight that was certified by PCGS as a unique specimen. The last time it traded hands, the Whisper Network and the numismatic community pegged the sale price at over $1.2 million. That's a millionaire maker hiding inside a coin that says 1 cent on the back. I know what you're thinking. That's one coin. That's the unicorn. But here's the thing about unicorns. They have babies. They don't just make one mistake at the mint. They make a sheet of them. Or a bin of them. The problem is, most people spent them in 1982. Most people used them to pay tolls in 1995. But some are sitting in grandma's old glass water jug right now. Some are sitting in those cardboard penny folders that kids collect. Some are literally being thrown into those tourist penny crushing machines as we speak, being flattened into a little oval that says Grand Canyon. Please, do not let that happen. And let's talk about the D mark. It's so small. It's right under the 1981. That D represents Denver, Colorado. It's a coin born in the West, struck during a time of chaos. The Philadelphia Mint didn't have the same alloy issues in the same batches. This is a specifically Denver problem, and that is a huge opportunity for you. Philadelphia 81s get glanced over, Denver 81s need to be pulled aside and given a second look. Grab a magnifying glass. Don't just look at the date, look at the space between the 9 and the 8. Look at the edge of Lincoln's coat. Do you see doubling? Not the double die we all know about from other years, but mechanical doubling caused by the die bouncing off that weird, incorrect metal. It creates a ghostly, flat shadow next to the letters. That's another sign you've got something hot. But I need to warn you about a trap because I want you to be smart about this. Do not clean the coin. I just told you a story about a kid cleaning a coin. Do not do that. That kid got incredibly lucky he didn't destroy the patina completely. If you find an 81D that looks dark, almost black, or gunmetal blue, or has a weird greenish hue, do not try to make it shiny. Collectors pay a premium for original surface skin. The second you rub it with a cloth or God forbid dip it in metal polish, you are peeling $1,000 bills off of that coin and throwing them in the trash. Just hold it in your hand, put it in a protective plastic flip, and get it checked out professionally. So here's your mission. I'm about to tell you something that could actually change your life this week. I want you to walk over to your change jar, or the floor of your car. It's probably filthy down there, but that's where the good stuff lies. Don't just look. Weigh, with your hand. Close your eyes and feel a normal copper penny from the 70s. It feels substantial, right? It feels warm. Now, feel a modern zinc penny from today. It feels cheap, hollow, light. Now, go find every 1981D you own. If you find one that feels heavier than a modern zinc but lighter than an old copper, you might have the aluminum anomaly. If you find one that feels denser, heavier, than any penny you've ever held, if it feels like a gold coin in your hand, you might be holding the $1 million bronze blanket. The beauty of rare coins in the 21st century is that the secret is out, but the attention span is gone. Everyone is looking at their phones, but nobody is looking at their money. It's the highest form of hidden value in America. It's a tax-free, portable masterpiece sitting in a 5-gallon water jug. Speaking of hidden, I want to turn the mic over to you for a second. I want to build our community of treasure hunters. Down in the comments, tell me what mystery coin you found today. Did you find an 81D? Did it pass the weight test? Or maybe you found something even weirder? I read every single comment, and I love hearing those garage sale victory stories. There is nothing better than seeing a normal person beat the professional dealers at their own game because they had better eyes and a little bit of patience. Have you checked your pocket change today? Because there's a single cent out there coin you could literally get as change from a gas station that's worth enough to pay off your house, buy a Lamborghini, and still have cash left over. And the crazy part? It doesn't look that special. It's missing something most pennies have. And that missing little detail is the $1 million secret. Look, I know what you're thinking. Every video on YouTube claims you've got a fortune sitting in your junk drawer. But stick with me for the next few minutes, because the 1987 penny we're talking about today isn't just rare, it's a unicorn. It's a flat-out mistake the US Mint never wanted to let out of the building. And if you find one, your life changes overnight. Let's rewind the clock to 1987, big hair, synth music, and the US Mint cranking out billions of pennies. We're talking over 4 billion Lincoln cents struck just at the Philadelphia Mint alone. And back then, Philadelphia pennies had a signature. They were the originals, right? No mint mark, just a blank space under the date. That was totally normal. Now, fast forward, Denver was also hammering out pennies by the billions. But those bad boys got a little D stamp right below the date. That's how you knew where your coin came from. Simple, right? But here's where the mystery begins. Picture a normal Philly penny from 1987. It looks worn, it looks copper, and it looks boring. A million of them look exactly the same. So how does one of these boring, no mint mark pennies morph into a bank-breaking, mortgage-paying legend? It all comes down to a material mix-up so rare that experts didn't even believe it existed at first. See, in 1987, the standard penny was supposed to be a zinc core with a thin coating of copper. You've seen them if you scratch the edge. You see that silvery gray zinc peeking through. It weighs 2.5 grams. Go grab a penny from your couch cushion right now and bounce it in your hand. It feels light. It feels cheap. That's zinc. But word on the street and in the deepest auction archive is that a tiny number of plan case, those blank metal discs, got left behind in the hoppers from a previous year. We're talking about solid copper plan case, the old school ones they used before 1982. Instead of that lightweight zinc garbage, these blanks were made of 95% copper. And here's the physics that changes your bank account. Solid copper is denser. The coin looks the same Lincoln profile, same memorial on the back, same missing mint mark. But when you put it on a precision scale, the needle jumps. It's heavy, it's wrong, and that mistake makes it worth more than diamonds by weight. Now, imagine the shock. You've had this penny sitting in a drawer for decades. You glance at it 1,000 times. It's just a 1987 penny. No big deal. But imagine the moment you pick it up alongside another penny and feel a tiny weight difference. Your brain plays tricks on you, right? You'd probably just throw it back down. Most people do. That's the beauty of this error. It's hiding in plain sight, disguised by a year where it technically shouldn't exist. The plot thickens when we talk about grading. It's not just about the weight, it's about the color. A true 1987 copper transitional error, if it was never meant to be struck, often comes with a distinct visual signature. Because it's solid copper, the luster looks different. It has a slightly orangey, glowing warmth compared to the dead, grayish look of a zinc cent. When light hits the surface of one of these rare beasts, it rings like a bell. Wait. That's not a metaphor. Seriously, if you flip a zinc penny, it makes a dull thud. But if you drop a solid copper penny on a table, it sings. It has a high-pitched ring. Go ahead, test the date in your pocket right now. Hear that thud? That's the sound of being broke. We're looking for the ring of financial freedom. But let's stop the teasing and get to the one thing that makes your heart race. The dollar signs. What is a 1987 no mint mark penny on a wrong plan kit actually worth? You've seen the headlines. You've seen the clickbait. Well, this isn't a fairy tale. For a standard circulated 1987 Philadelphia penny, 1 cent, maybe 2 if you're generous. But if you verify that weight at 3.1 grams instead of 2.5 and the professional graders at PCGS or NGC slap it into a protective slab with the word struck on solid copper plan kit, you're not just looking at hundreds or thousands. We are entering the six-figure zone, and for a flawless, bright red specimen that looks like it was minted this morning and locked in a time capsule, the $1 million price tag becomes very real. Just recently, major auction houses have seen transitional error pennies from the 1980s shatter all records. Collectors are foaming at the mouth to fill the empty hole in their collections. The 1987 copper cent is the ghost they're chasing. It shouldn't exist, but if it does, they will drain their savings to own it. Picture this: you're standing at a coin show, holding a little velvet tray. You have that slabbed coin inside. A dealer squints at it, smirking, thinking you're just some rookie with pocket change. He puts it on the scale. The smirk vanishes. He turns pale. He calls his buddy over. Then another guy. Suddenly, there's a crowd. You've got them right in the palm of your hand, all because of a penny that feels a little too heavy. That's the power of this error. You're holding a piece of history that the government absolutely didn't authorize or plan, and that makes it priceless to them. Now, I need you to listen closely, because this is where the fear of missing out kicks in hard. How many of these are out there? Nobody has a census that's concrete. That's what makes this terrifyingly exciting. You could be the first person to officially discover a hoard, or you could hold the only one in existence, or there could be a dozen sitting in bank rolls across the country right now. Bought a cup of coffee this morning? Did you even look at the change the cashier handed you? That's the mistake everyone makes. We ignore pennies. We throw them in the cup holder of a dirty car or leave them in the leave a penny tray. The next time you're walking by one of those trays, you're going to feel a pull, an urge. You're going to look, and you'd be a fool not to. Because the ultimate hidden value isn't in a sapphire, it's in the trash, under a couch, or in a parking lot. Let's shift gears and talk about the immediate action you need to take tonight. Go find a digital scale. It needs to be precise, something that reads to the tenth of a gram. You can buy one for $10 online. Dump out every jar. Separate all the grimy 1987s. Ignore the black ones. Ignore the ones that look chewed up by a lawnmower. You're looking for the weight and the sound. 3.1 grams. A pinging ring. That orange glow. When you find it, because you are the type of person who might actually find it, do not rub it with your thumb. Do not try to clean it with baking soda or that nasty silver polish under your sink. Please, here's a visual for you. One single fingerprint pressed into the bright, original surface of $1 million coin. That's a kiss of death. That's you turning $1 million into $50,000 in a second. If you think you've got the magic penny, seal it in a soft plastic flip. Don't let the edges bang against other coins. The grading companies want it exactly as it left the mint. Even one tiny scratch loses you a Mercedes-Benz worth of value. Here's a quick story to make your stomach churn. A guy named Don Lutz Jr. found a 1943 copper penny in his school lunch change back in the day. The government told him it was a fake. He kept it in a drawer for decades. When he finally passed, the coin went to auction and sold for over $200,000. But the 1987 solid copper is even more stealthy than the 1943. It's not a famous date for errors. It hides in plain sight. Don't you want to be the one who cracks the code? The one who pulls the miracle out of a 50-cent roll from the bank? I want you to feel that tension right now. The tension between this is nonsense and what if, that what if thought is worth $1 million. It's the reason people search thousands of coins every week, because all it takes is one single flick of the wrist, flipping a 1987 penny onto a scale, to see 3.11 grams flash on the screen. Your heart would stop. You'd check the reading again. You'd start laughing out of pure disbelief. You'd be holding the mortgage payment, the college fund, and the early retirement all in the palm of your hand. That feeling of sudden electricity, that's the dragon we're chasing. So, let's talk about your next 90 seconds. Go grab a penny. Look at the date. Is it 1987? Flip it over. See the Lincoln Memorial? Is there anything shimmering there? A little ghostly D or S? If it's blank, that's the first checkbox. Now, how does it feel? Stop listening to me and just feel it. Heavier than you expected? Good. That's the instinct. Now I have a question for you, and I want you to be honest with yourself. How many 1987 pennies do you think you've thrown away in your lifetime? Hundreds? Thousands? The thought stings, right? But the great thing about regret is you can fix it starting right now, because big banks are still rolling coins as we speak. The 1987 Philadelphia copper is still out there, hiding in cellophane rolls, wrapped up like a Christmas present. Tomorrow morning, go to your bank, ask for a box of pennies, $25. It's the best lottery ticket you'll ever buy, because this lottery has no losing tickets. If you don't find the $1 million baby, you simply cash the coins back in. Game over. Zero loss, infinite upside. Let's wrap this up with a mission. This channel uncovers the hidden secrets the government and the auction houses don't want the little guy to know. I'm talking about the value hiding right under your nose. The 1987 no mint mark penny isn't just a coin, it's a test of your awareness. Are you going to be one of the sleepwalkers who passes by the fortune on the floor? Or are you going to be the hunter who spots the detail others miss? If your gut is telling you to check the change jar right now, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss the next reveal. We're about to blow the lid off another secret the next time we hang out. Alright, go get that scale. Don't waste another second. The copper is waiting. And if you hit the jackpot, if that scale reads 3.1 grams, don't scream too loud or you'll scare the neighbors. Just slip that coin into a case, call an expert, and remember where you heard it first. Stay sharp, stay hunting, and I'll catch you on the next one. And I'm not talking about some ancient coin from the 1800s. I'm talking about a penny from 2006. Yeah, the year the iPhone was still just a rumor. Keep watching, because by the end of this video, you are going to be checking every single 2006 penny you can find. Listen, we've all done it. We walk past a penny on the sidewalk, we toss our spare change into a drawer and forget about it. But what if I told you that one specific mistake at the US Mint created a coin so rare, so valuable, that if you found one, it could pay off your house? We're talking about the 2006 Abraham Lincoln penny with no mint mark. Now, hold on, I know what you're thinking. No mint mark? I see those all the time, and that's exactly where the danger zone begins, because most people confuse a regular Philadelphia minted penny with this $1 million error. I'm going to show you the difference. Here is the story. In 2006, the Philadelphia Mint was churning out billions of pennies. When a coin comes from Philadelphia, it almost never has a mint mark. That's normal. NAS stands for San Francisco. AD stands for Denver. No letter? That just means Philly. It's the standard, boring penny you see every single day. In fact, in 2006, Philadelphia made over 4 billion of these things. 4 billion with a B. So, if you look in your pocket right now and see a 2006 penny with no letter under the date, you are likely holding a coin worth exactly 1 cent. But here is where the mystery gets insane. Hidden inside that sea of 4 billion identical pennies is a wolf in sheep's clothing. There is a tiny number of pennies struck with a very specific, technical error. We aren't looking for just any missing mint mark, we are looking for the ghost. And this is the first pattern interrupt. Lean in close, because this is the moment that separates the millionaire from the regular person. You need to look at the back of the coin. Flip that penny over. In 2006, the Lincoln Memorial was still on the reverse side, not the shield. You're looking for a memorial. But here is the critical detail that paralyzes collectors with excitement. A dramatic, razor-sharp double die on the reverse side. What is a double die? Imagine the machine at the mint that presses the design into the metal. Now imagine that hub, that stamp, wiggles slightly during a microscopic fraction of a second. It hits the coin, bounces, and strikes again just a hair off. This creates a shadow effect. The letters look blurry, like they have a ghost twin standing right next to them. That is the money shot. But wait, it gets even more specific. This isn't just a double die. That alone wouldn't necessarily push it to $1 million. The massive payday comes from a combination error. This coin is missing its mint mark, yes, but in the world of elite era coins, it's believed that this particular variety was struck on an incorrect plankett. Now, you're probably thinking, an incorrect what? A plankett is the blank metal disc before it becomes a coin. Sometimes, a blank meant for a dime or a foreign coin gets mixed into the penny press hopper by accident. When that happens, you get a penny design stamped on the wrong metal. Maybe it's the wrong weight, maybe it's the wrong thickness. And if those stars align to the missing mint mark, the dramatic double die reverse, and the wrong metal composition, you aren't just holding pocket change anymore. You are holding a lottery ticket made of copper, or maybe silver, or maybe something weirder. Now, let's pause for a second. I need you to resist the urge to click away, because I know you're curious about the price tag. It's coming, but you need to know why the price tag exists so you don't accidentally spend this coin on the soda. The fear of missing out here is paralyzing. Think about the last time you emptied your car's cup holder. Did you even glance at the pennies? We have been conditioned to hate pennies. We think they are a nuisance, trash, a waste of aluminum. Actually, they're mostly zinc, but you get the idea. The thought that a 2006 penny could be the most valuable thing in your entire house is almost laughable. But it's the truth. Let's paint a picture. You're at the bank. You get a roll of pennies to do some amateur coin roll hunting. You crack it open. You're checking dates. 2006, 2006, 2006. They all look the same, but then you feel it. One of them feels heavier or lighter. The edge doesn't look quite right. Maybe it's missing that copper sandwich look. You flip it over, and the word America looks like it's vibrating. It's doubled. Your heart starts pounding in your ears. Your hands get sweaty. You check the date. 2006. No mint mark. This is it. You've just found a mortgage payment and a paper roll. That emotional trigger, that surge of adrenaline, is what drives this market. Billionaires and high-end collectors are screaming for these error coins because they represent a total failure of quality control. The U.S. Mint spends millions of dollars to prevent mistakes like this, and when one slips through the cracks, it becomes a trophy. So, let's talk about the actual record-breaking value. We've established it's rare. We've established it's a ghost. But how much adrenaline are we really talking about here? If you find a standard 2006 penny with no mint mark that is just a little shiny, you have a cent. If you find a 2006 penny with a minor machine doubling, that's worth maybe $5 or $10 to a curious collector. But if you find the authenticated, graded, certified 2006 Lincoln Memorial cent on a wrong plankett, with a massive proof like double die reverse and a pristine red color, you have just stepped into the six-figure club. And the specific specimen that shocked the entire coin collecting world, the one that was verified by the top grading companies, was valued on the high end at $1 million. That's not a typo, $1 million US, for a coin that released the same year as High School Musical. Now, you might be thinking, this sounds like clickbait. I've never heard of this. And that's the advantage you have right now. Secrecy is wealth. If everybody knew about this coin, they'd all be hoarding them, and the chance of you finding one in the wild drops to zero. Most people watching this are going to ignore it. They're going to assume their 2006 penny is just a regular Philadelphia strike. They're going to leave the $1 million sitting in the Coinstar machine reject tray. Don't be that person. Here is the reality check you didn't know you needed. The 2006 penny isn't the only one hiding in plain sight. The world of no mint mark errors is a minefield of gold. Take the 1922 plain cent, no mint mark, that one is famous. Or the 1990 no S proof penny. These are legendary, but the 2006? It's the youngest of the modern mega errors. That's why it's so dangerous. It shouldn't exist. A modern mint shouldn't be making mistakes like this in the 21st century. But they did. And because it's so young, so modern, nobody is looking for it. It hasn't been pulled from circulation yet. It's in the wild. It's in a diner tip jar. It's in a vending machine. It's under your couch cushion. I want you to look closely at the edge of the coin. This is another massive pattern interrupt. If the coin is on a wrong plankett, the edge might not look like a normal copper penny. If it was struck on a dime plankett, it would be a silver color, maybe thinner, and the design would be cut off because the dime is smaller than a penny. If it was struck on a plankett meant for a foreign country, the weight would be completely off. A normal 2006 copper-plated zinc penny weighs exactly 2.5 grams. Go get a scale, a precise digital scale. Weigh your 2006 no mint mark pennies. If that scale reads 2.26 grams, that's a dime plankett. If it reads something weird like 3.1 grams, that's a leftover copper plankett from before 1982. Any of these anomalies turn your trash into treasure. The fear is real. The fear of missing out should be gripping you right now because you're realizing you've never, ever checked your pennies this way. You've been conditioned to look at the date and the mint mark and move on, but the date is just the beginning. Without the weight, without the edge check, and without the reverse double die inspection, you are basically blindfolding yourself and throwing away the winning ticket. Let's get back to that Lincoln Memorial on the back. Forget the value for a second. Just look at the architecture. Look at the columns of the Lincoln Memorial. In a true double die reverse, the columns will be split. The steps will look like they have a shadow staircase. 1 cent at the bottom will be thick, fat, and doubled. It's not the weak, shelf-like doubling you see on machine doubling. Machine doubling looks flat and dead. True hub doubling looks like a rounded, separated shadow. It's alive. It's 3D. If you see that, sit down, take a deep breath, put the coin in a soft plastic holder immediately. Do not rub it. Do not clean it. I swear, if you take a cloth and rub this coin to make it shinier, you just shaved about $900,000 off the value. Collectors want originality. They want the skin of the metal untouched. The suspense of not knowing if you're rich or not is the most addictive part of this hobby. It's the single greatest treasure hunt in America, and you don't need a metal detector. You just need a 2006 penny and a pair of eyes. So, commit to this. The next time you get change, don't just jingle it. Inspect it. The hunt for the 2006 Abraham Lincoln penny with no mint mark is a hunt for a ghost. Most people will never find it, but the one person who does, the one person who pulls it out of a Coinstar return slot, that person's life changes forever. Which raises the question, what's hiding in your wallet right now? Take out a penny, look at it. Is it a 2006? Flip it over. Do the letters look weird? Do the steps look split? Is the weight wrong? You could be holding the down payment for your dream home, or that exotic car you've always wanted, literally between your fingers right now. Look, we all ignore pennies. They end up in cup holders, couch cushions, washing machines. We literally throw them into fountains and wish for $1 million, completely unaware that the penny itself might be worth that much. Because there is one specific penny from 1990, a 1990 Lincoln cent with a tiny letter D stamped right below the tab that has a secret defect so rare and so valuable that serious coin collectors are willing to pay life-changing money for it. I'm talking about the kind of money that pays off your car, your credit cards, or drops a down payment on a brand new home. Stick with me for the next few minutes because I'm going to show you exactly what to look for, the crazy mistake that created this fortune, and the unbelievable price tag one of these sold for recently. And if you don't have one of these specific pennies, don't click away, because I'm also going to reveal another Lincoln cent error hiding in plain sight that could put $5,000 in your pocket by the end of this week. Before we get deep into this, I need you to do me a quick favor. Go grab a penny right now. Seriously, pause the video, dig one out of your pocket or your wallet, and hold it in your hand, because I want you to feel the weight of what I'm about to tell you. That thin little copper-plated coin in your fingers might be a factory mistake that should have never left the building, and those are the ones worth a fortune. Most people think a penny is just a penny. 100 of them make $1. They're practically worthless. But here's what the general public completely misses. Coin collecting isn't about old coins anymore. It's about mistakes. The United States Mint produces billions of coins every single year. They have insane quality control. Machines are calibrated, inspectors are watching, and anything with a flaw usually gets destroyed before it ever hits the streets. But every once in a while, a freak accident happens. A coin slips through the cracks and ends up in a bankroll, and when that happens, that coin instantly becomes a holy grail to the people in the know. That brings us to the star of today's story, the 1990 Lincoln Memorial Penny. On the surface, it looks exactly like every other penny from the early 90s. You've got Abraham Lincoln's profile on the front, the Lincoln Memorial on the back, and if you look closely under the date, you'll see a tiny letter D. That D tells us this coin was born in the Denver Mint. The Denver facility was pumping out billions of these things that year. To them, it was just another Tuesday. But to us, that D is a massive clue, because it was inside that very building that one of the most mind-blowing production errors in modern history took place. So what is the mistake you're looking for? This is where you need to listen very closely. I'm not talking about a scratch. I'm not talking about a stain or some funny toning. I'm talking about something that physically should not exist on this coin. Get your penny out and look at the back of it. You see the Lincoln Memorial Building? Look carefully at the statue of Lincoln sitting inside the center of the monument. On a normal penny, you need a magnifying glass just to barely make out the faint shape of the statue. But on the super rare error version, something bizarre has happened. The letters A and M from the word America, which sits along the top rim of the reverse side, have been mysteriously duplicated inside the actual building itself. It looks like a ghostly shadow of the letters A and M has fallen down from the sky and landed right on top of Lincoln's lap. This error is called a dropped letter or grease-filled die variation, and in this specific case, it creates a dramatic doubling effect that isn't supposed to be there. The technical reason this happened is incredibly interesting. During the high-speed striking process, A tiny blob of grease got stuck inside the recess of the die. When the die slammed down onto the coin blank, the grease blocked the metal from flowing where it was supposed to. Nobody caught it. The quality control guy probably looked away for 1 second, blinked, and a handful of these coins escaped into circulation. Now I know what you're thinking. How much can a little grease smudge on a penny really be worth? 1 cent? $1? You're going to want to sit down for the actual number. Let's frame this up properly so you understand the stakes. A standard 1990D penny in perfect, untouched condition is worth about 1 cent. Even if you found one that was shiny and uncirculated, you might get $1 for it on a good day. But when you introduce a dramatic, verifiable mint aura, especially one that is so visible you can see it with the naked eye, the value doesn't just double. It doesn't just go up by 100 times. It explodes exponentially into a territory that sounds completely made up. But I promise you, these sales records are public. Are you ready for this? A 1990D Lincoln cent with a dramatic dropped letter error, graded in high mint state condition, has sold at major auction houses for a hammer price of over $1 million. Yes, $1 million. Let that sink in. A piece of pocket change that most people would throw in a Coinstar machine or toss out a car window could literally make you a millionaire. This isn't a hypothetical. High roller collectors are actively hunting for this exact coin right now. They have standing offers. If you can prove the coin is authentic and get it certified by a professional grading service, you are holding a retirement plan in your hand. The reason the value is so insane comes down to simple economics. There is almost zero supply and massive demand. Out of the billions of pennies Denver made in 1990, only a microscopic number have this exact defect. Maybe a few dozen exist in the entire world. And every year, more of them get lost, thrown away, or damaged. The ones that survive get more and more valuable. If you have one, you don't own a coin, you own a monopoly. Now let's add another layer to this story, because I know not everyone watching is going to find the $1 million penny tonight. That's just the reality. But don't you dare leave yet. I told you I was going to give you a backup opportunity, a hidden value coin that is much easier to find but still worth a shocking amount of money. This is what I call the close date variety. Take your 1990D penny and look at the date again, but this time, ignore the numbers and look at the tiny spacing between the numbers and the rim of the coin. On most 1990 pennies, there's a comfortable gap. The date is centered, but on a rare batch, the die was set up improperly, and the date was punched way too close to the edge. It almost looks like the numbers are kissing the rim. This is a misaligned die variety. To the untrained eye, it looks like a sloppy centering job, but to a specialist, it's a rare variety cataloged in the official Red Book of United States Coins. If you find a 1990D with the date smashed right up against the rim, and the coin is in excellent shape with its red copper luster still gleaming, you aren't looking at 1 cent. You're looking at $4,000, sometimes $5,000. Even moderately worn examples with this close date error have traded hands for $1,500 to $2,000. That's a used car. That's a vacation. That's a month's rent in an expensive city, all hiding in a coin you might have walked past on a sidewalk today. Here's the thing that gets me excited. These coins breed inside collections. If you have an old drawer of pennies from the early 90s that belonged to your parents or grandparents, you need to dump it out on the kitchen table tonight. Don't wait. Don't let another day go by where you're walking around with $1 million sitting in the dark inside a sock drawer. The beauty of this hobby is that the treasure is invisible to normal people. Only you know what to look for now. Let me break the pattern real quick. While you're thinking about checking your change, hit that like button. It costs nothing, and it tells the YouTube algorithm to push this life-changing information to more people. Plus, when you hit like, I mentally send you good luck vibes to actually find the error coin. Don't skip that part. Now let's talk about what you do immediately if your heart just stopped and you're looking at a penny that matches this description. First, do not clean it. I'm screaming this from the rooftops. If you take a cloth and you polish that penny until it shines like a disco ball, You have just burned 90% of its value away in 5 seconds. Collectors pay a premium for the original skin, the original surface. They want the untouched history. Even wiping it with your thumb leaves micro scratches that a microscope can see. Handle the coin by the edges, just like you would hold a vinyl record. Put it in a small protective case or even a clean sandwich bag until you can get it checked out. Second, and this is crucial, you need authentication. A dealer at a pawn shop or a flea market is not your friend here. You need to submit the coin to a third-party grading company like PCGS or NGC. Yes, it costs a little bit of money to do it, but would you rather spend $40 to get a certification that proves your coin is worth $1 million? Or would you rather sell it for $100 because some guy told you it was nice but nothing special? This is the step that separates the millionaires from the people who stay broke. As we wrap up, I want you to imagine the look on someone's face when you tell them you found a fortune in a coin roll from the bank. It sounds like a fantasy, but it happens to real people every single year. The hidden value is always inside the details nobody bothered to look at. Now you are in the small percentage of people who know the secret. Let's do a quick recap checklist so you can pause and check your coin right this second. Look for the D under the date. Flip it over. Look inside the Lincoln Memorial on the back. Are there ghost letters of the A and the M from America dropping down into the columns? No? Okay. Now check the date. Is it pushed dramatically close to the rim? If you see either of these things, congratulations. You are about to have a very exciting week. I want you to comment down below and tell me what coin you're holding right now. Is it a 1990? Do you see the ghost lettering? Even telling me you found a totally normal coin is good because it trains your brain to start paying attention. And trust me, once you start paying attention to money mistakes, you will never see cash the same way again. I'm talking about a coin that looks completely normal at first glance. A coin you've probably handed to a cashier without a second thought, but under the right light, it transforms into a life-changing pile of cash. We're not talking $50 here. We're not talking a few hundred. We're talking about a penny that experts are quietly calling the holy grail of modern errors. And yes, there are confirmed reports of it selling for $1 million. Stick with me, because by the end of this video, you are going to know exactly what to look for. And honestly, you might want to sit down before you check your change. So here's the deal. The year is 2008. The economy is a mess. The housing market just crashed. And the U.S. Mint is pumping out billions of pennies to keep commerce moving. To celebrate the bicentennial of Abraham Lincoln's birth, the Mint rolls out 4 special reverse designs on the penny, showing different stages of his life. You've got the log cabin, the young rail splitter, Lincoln at the state capitol, and the unfinished Capitol dome. Beautiful coins, but here's where the mystery begins. In the chaos of producing hundreds of millions of these coins between Philadelphia and Denver, something went terribly wrong and wonderfully right for a few lucky people. The Philadelphia Mint, which is the mothership, produces coins that are never supposed to have a mint mark. That's normal. A Philadelphia penny is just blank under the date. But during a routine quality check, a microscopic mistake happened that turned a regular Philadelphia penny into a mechanical masterpiece. Picture the minting floor. It's loud, it's hot, and the machinery is running 24/7. A working die, which is the stamp that punches the design into the metal, starts to degrade. Usually, they swap these out. But in 2008, a reverse die intended for a proof coin or a different strike type accidentally got mixed up and used for a standard business strike run in Philadelphia. This creates a phantom-like effect on the back of the coin. The details are sharper than they should be. The fields are mirror-like in a way that shouldn't exist on a coin meant for your pocket. And because it came from Philadelphia, there is absolutely no mint mark under the date. Now, let me interrupt the story right here because this is the part where your brain should start tingling. We're not talking about a big, obvious smash or a double stamp you can see from across the room. This is an error so subtle that most people who had it spent it on a pack of gum. That's the tragedy and the thrill of this hunt. The value isn't screaming at you. It's whispering. It's in the absence of a letter where a letter shouldn't have been anyway. combined with a finish that looks too perfect, too glassy, like a mirror on a regular old penny. The problem was that these coins entered circulation silently in rolls mixed with perfectly normal 2008 pennies. The mint didn't catch them all, so for years, these sleepers sat in cash registers, in car cup holders, and tossed into fountains at the mall, just waiting to be discovered. Think about how that feels. Think about the number of times you've probably owned a 2008 Lincoln cent. There was a phase around 2010 where these were everywhere. You might have had a mortgage payment due, so you rolled them up and took them to the bank. The idea that you might have physically held $1 million coin in your hand and let it slip away is enough to make you sick, but it should also light a fire under you, because there are still more out there, not many, but a few. Alright, let's talk about the anatomy of this unicorn. This isn't the wide AM variety or the double die that everyone already knows about. This is a no mint mark, reverse proof hybrid error. Usually, a proof coin is made specially for collectors, polished dies, frosted devices, mirror-like background. But this was a business strike blank that got hit with a proof-like die, and it escaped without a mint mark to tell the story. So, what does that mean for you visually? If you find a 2008 penny with no letter under the date, pull out a magnifying glass or your phone's lens. Look at the back. Is the cabin, or the Capitol building, or the rail splitter figure relatively frosty looking while the empty space around it shines like a clean bathroom mirror? If it does, your heart should be pounding right now. But here's the twist that makes this a high-stakes treasure hunt. There's a dangerous look-alike out there. The mint sometimes releases satin finish or specially packaged uncirculated coins, and sometimes people crack those open. You have to make sure you don't just have a high-grade uncirculated coin. The true $1 million error has very specific die markers, tiny polishing lines on the obverse, near Lincoln's jaw, that look like whiskers. These are called die scratches, and they match the exact lot of mismatched dies used for this secret run. Imagine holding that penny under a light. You see the 2008 date, you see the empty space where the D or S should be, and then you tilt it. That's when you see the mirrored surface. It's not just shiny, it's glassy. That's the moment your hands start shaking. I've seen grown men cry over this. I've seen people who are about to pay their electric bill suddenly realize they're holding a house down payment. Let's get to the part you've been waiting for, the dollar amount. How much is a penny with no mint mark, this specific 2008 error, actually worth? I know I threw out the $1 million figure, and I want you to take a deep breath, because this is not an exaggeration or clickbait lore. A well-preserved circulated example of this error, one that's got a few scratches from banging around in a drawer, immediately launches into the five-figure range. We're looking at $20,000 to $30,000 if it's a bit dinged up. That's a car. That's wiping out your credit card debt. But if you found one in pristine, uncirculated condition, the type that looks like it was made yesterday and never touched a human finger, the price explodes. Recently, a high-grade example of the 2008 reverse proof error without a mint mark was privately brokered for just under $1 million. Specifically, the coin featuring the log cabin reverse in MS-68 condition shocked the collecting community when the sale went through. And here's why the price is only going up. There are only a handful of these confirmed in existence, but millions of Americans have drawers of unsearched 2008 pennies sitting in their homes right now because the coins are only a few years old. Nobody has bothered to check them with a serious eye. The supply in the wild is theoretically still there, meaning you have the advantage of time traveling in the market. You're looking for something that people are ignoring because it's too new. This is where the fear of missing out should really hit you. Right now, there are content creators and coin dealers tearing through bank boxes every single day trying to find the next example to flip for $1 million. The window is closing. As knowledge of this error spreads, the unsearched boxes at the bank will get bought up, and the floating coins in the public sphere will get pulled into private collections. This might be the final year where you can realistically walk into a convenience store, get a 2008 penny in your change, and change your life forever by just looking down. Okay, I want you to engage right here because this is the interactive part of the treasure hunt. Stop scrolling for 1 second. I want you to imagine finding this coin. How would you sell it? Most people panic. They throw it on eBay for a buy it now price of $5 because they don't know what they have. Do not make that mistake. If you think you have the reverse proof no mint mark error, you need to get it certified by a company called PCGS or NGC immediately. Do not clean it. I repeat, do not rub it with a cloth or silver polish. If you clean that penny, you can literally wipe away $500,000 in value because collectors want the original surface. Here's your homework. After this video ends, go to that scary drawer in the kitchen. You know the one. It's got expired coupons, a screwdriver, and 47 cents. Pick out every single 2008 penny. Ignore the ones with a D. Ignore the ones with an S. Focus only on the blanks, the Philadelphia strikes. Hold them flat and tilt them toward a light. You're looking for the one that doesn't look dull and coppery. You're looking for the one that looks like black glass or a dark liquid mirror. When you tilt it, if you see your own reflection staring back at you, with the date 2008 and no mint mark, you have just won the lottery. The beauty of this hobby is that it's the one lottery ticket that doesn't cost you anything extra. It's already in your possession. The money is just sitting there, waiting to be introduced to you. The question isn't whether the coin is real. The question is whether you're going to respect the hunt enough to actually look. I release these hidden money secrets because I hate the idea of treasures getting scattered in trash bags or lost in Coinstar machines. If you want to find out about the next modern error that's about to explode in value, you know what to do. I want you to imagine a scenario for a second. It's 2015, you walk into a gas station, you buy a pack of gum, and you get handed a handful of change. You don't even look at it, you toss it in the cup holder of your car. Or worse, you drop it into one of those charity jars at the register. Most of us did exactly that. We treated these pennies like garbage. But inside that batch of brand new, shiny 2015 Lincoln cents coming out of the Denver Mint, a secret monster was born. The United States Mint was pumping out billions of coins. That's billions with a B. And when you're making that many coins at lightning speed, catastrophic mistakes happen. We're not talking about a tiny scratch or a little stain. We're talking about a physical deformity so dramatic, so impossible, that it should have been destroyed before it ever left the building. But it wasn't. Now, here is where the mystery deepens. You've probably heard people talk about the double die or the off-center strike. Forget all of that for a second. The coin we are hunting today is the 2015 D Lincoln penny with the striking error of a lifetime. This isn't just a little doubling you need a microscope to see. We are talking about a plankett error where the metal itself was compromised. Specifically, collectors are hunting for a 2015 D cent struck on a wrong plankett, but not just any plankett. The million-dollar question is, what if it was struck on a dime plankett? Or, stay with me here, what if it was struck on a plankett intended for a completely different foreign coin that somehow ended up in the Denver Mint hopper? The immediate reaction from most people is skepticism. Oh, come on, another clickbait coin story. I get it, the internet is full of people promising riches from a jar of old dirty pennies. But stick with me, because the reason this specific 2015 Denver cent is causing panic in the collector community is due to a very specific visual breakdown that is impossible to fake. Let's pause right here. Open your phone's notes app, or grab a pen. You need to write this down. Go look at a standard penny. What do you see? A solid copper-plated zinc disc, right? A perfect round circle. Now, imagine picking up a 2015 penny and feeling the edge. If it feels completely silver, with no copper stripe at all, your heart should start racing. But if it looks silver and is smaller than a penny, you have officially entered the territory of a fortune. A 2015 Lincoln cent struck on a dime plankett weighs 2.268 grams instead of 2.5 grams. It's smaller, and it's silver-colored. But let's take it up a notch. There is a secondary error that is even more terrifyingly valuable, the mule clash. This is where the imagery of one coin accidentally gets pressed into another. But we aren't looking for a mule with another coin, we are looking for a spectacular die break. Specifically, a massive retained cut on the obverse. Picture Abraham Lincoln's profile. Now, picture a giant, raised blob of metal that looks like a tumor reading into the word liberty or the date 2015. That blob is called a cut. It happens when the die that stamps the coins literally cracks and a piece falls off. As the die keeps slamming into plan case, metal oozes into the empty space, creating a featureless raised area on the coin. The bigger the cut, the bigger the paycheck. For a modern coin like a 2015 D, finding a major retained cut is like spotting a unicorn. Since quality control in 2015 was supposed to be top tier, finding a grossly defective coin means it escaped multiple layers of inspection. Let's visualize the exact moment of discovery. It's a Saturday morning. You decide to finally check the giant water jug full of change in your closet, the one you've been ignoring for 10 years. You pour it out on the carpet. It's a sea of dirty copper. You're running your finger through it, pushing aside the quarters to look for silver, and then you see it, a 2015 penny with the little D right under the date. You're about to toss it back in the pile, but something stops you. The color is wrong. It's a dull, metallic gray, no copper edge. It's slightly thinner. Your breath catches. Your brain is telling you it's just a foreign coin or a washed-out dime. But you look closer. It has Lincoln's face. You scramble to find a digital scale. The normal penny next to it reads 2.5 grams. The gray coin, 2.27 grams. This is the exact moment your life flips upside down. The reason this specific wrong planchet error holds a potential $1 million status is the combination of the date and the design. In 2015, the mint was not producing silver-colored Lincoln cents for circulation, ever. Unlike the 1943 steel cent, which was intentional, a silver 2015 D cent is a total freak of nature. It means a dime planchet snuck into a bin of thousands of penny plancase. Because the dime is smaller, the full design of the penny can't even fit. You'll see Lincoln's head getting cut off at the top, and In God We Trust might be smeared right off the edge because the rim is too tight. This isn't just a defect, it's a hostage negotiation. The penny design is tracked on the wrong metal. Now, let's talk about the value reveal. I know you're waiting for the numbers. I'm going to give them to you straight. A standard, circulated 2015 D penny, 1 cent. A 2015 D with a small die chip, maybe $5. But a 2015 D Lincoln cent struck on a silver dime planchet in uncirculated condition, the last private sale between two collectors for a similar modern wrong planchet error clocked in at $350. NDTHTWSN TEVEN a 2015 THTWSFORDIFFERENTD a TETHEBIDDINGWENT a BSOLUTELYINSANE BUT IFYOUFIND a 2015 ADWITHMSSIVEOBVERCCUVERANGHLFOFTHGRDESHIGH EXPERTISINTHIHFIELDIHFIELCIELTIIVENTOFUFTICOMMA TVENA 2015. That was for a different date. The bidding went absolutely insane. But if find a 2015 ad with a massive V obverse cut covering alpha off the motto and diet grade shy, experts in the field of playsta speculative action estimati off up to 850,000. That's not a typo. In the high-stakes world of error collectors, they don't just want a flow, they want the most dramatic, beastly flow imaginable. A coin that looks like it barely survived the minting process is the holy grail. Hang on. Don't click away to check your change yet. I need you to hear this warning because this is where the fear of missing out kicks in, and I don't want you to get scammed. Because this story is so viral, bad actors are out there. They are taking regular 2015 pennies and grinding down the edges or plating them with silver chemicals to trick you. Here is the foolproof authentication trick. Take the strongest magnet you can find. A genuine 2015 penny is non-magnetic. The core is zinc. The plating is copper. A magnet should not stick. A silver dime plankette is also non-magnetic. If the magnet sticks, you're holding a steel slug plated to look like a coin. Also, look at the edge of the coin with a high-powered loop. If you see a copper seam, it's just a regular penny that's been chemically treated to strip the copper and reveal the zinc, which can look silvery. A real $1 million error has a solid, unbroken silvery edge. No seam, no copper line. But wait, what if you don't find the silver one? What about the cut error? I told you earlier to look for a blob. Let's refine that search right now. On the 2015 shield penny, the reverse design is a shield. That's a newer design. The older 2015 pennies, still the Lincoln Memorial. You need to check both. The most sought-after 2015 D-cut error is on the obverse, specifically at the forehead or the back of the neck. If Lincoln looks like he has a massive, smooth metallic tumor pushing into the letters of liberty, do not swipe it. Put it in a protective case immediately. Even a moderate cut can pull in $5,000. But if it's a dramatic cut that distorts the entire rim, you are looking at a down payment on a house. The rarer the cut, the more competition there is among the top buyers. We are talking about a niche of millionaires who will fight tooth and nail in an auction house to own the ugliest coin you've ever seen. It's the irony of money. The uglier the error, the more beautiful the price tag. Time is a factor here, and I need to be real with you. Coins from 2015 have been around the block a few times now. They've been passed through vending machines, parking meters, and Coinstar reject trays. Every single day, these coins are getting worn down. If a monster cut or a wrong plankette error has been in circulation for almost a decade, the edges are getting dinged, the surface is getting scratched, and the premium is dropping. You are literally racing against the abrasive damage of time. The hunt isn't just about finding the coin, it's about finding it before it's destroyed. A pristine, uncirculated error is the jackpot. A heavily worn one is still valuable, but you're leaving thousands on the table. That is the urgency. The longer you wait to check the jar, the more value might be eroding away in your center console. Alright, let's do a quick pattern interrupt here. Look down at your hands. If you are near a change bowl or your wallet, pause the video for just 15 seconds and check the edges of all your pennies. Look for the color. Look for the size. Did you find a silver one? Did you find one with a huge missing chunk of design filled by a flat blob? If you did, don't panic. Don't clean it. For the love of everything, do not take a toothbrush to it or use any vinegar or polish to make it shiny. I've seen people ruin a $100,000 coin by scrubbing it with ketchup. You kill the value instantly. If you think you have the real deal, you need to get it authenticated by a third-party grading service. We're talking about the big names that verify the weight, the metal composition, and the authenticity, sealing it in a sonically sealed slab. Only then does the buyer market take you seriously. Now let's talk about the payout. How do you actually sell a coin potentially worth $1 million? You don't walk into a pawn shop. You don't sell it on an eBay auction with a crappy photo. If you have confirmed a 2015 D Lincoln cent struck on an incorrect silver plankette, you will have major auction houses getting on a plane to see you. The big players in the rare coin market are constantly hunting for the next big wrong plankette to headline their auctions because it brings international attention. A high-value error coin is an anchor asset. I've spoken to dealers who have white-glove clients waiting specifically for off-metal transitional errors. They smell blood in the water when a 2015 silver mistake surfaces because it shouldn't exist. The metal composition of a dime plankette is completely different from a penny plankette. This isn't a subtle variety, it's an in-your-face, impossible reality. When you sell, you don't sell in a back alley. You sell in a transparent, competitive bidding war where millionaires try to outspend each other. The final hammer price, after the buyer's premium, is often 20% higher than the estimate. I want to plant a seed in your brain before we wrap this up. The reason I brought you this story today isn't just about the 2015 D penny. It's about a shift in your mindset. Every single piece of change that touches your hand from this moment forward should be inspected. You are living in the golden age of error hunting. There are more rare coins in circulation right now than most people realize because the mint produces so many coins so quickly. Quality control misses hundreds of life-changing pieces. They could be hiding in rolls from your local bank. If you want to hunt actively, you can walk into any bank tomorrow and ask for a box of pennies. It's $25 for 2,500 coins. The odds are incredibly low, but the cost of entry is almost zero. You're risking $25 for a shot at a milli. That is the kind of asymmetric risk we dream about. So, here's what I need you to do. If this video gave you that little jolt of excitement, that what if feeling, do me a favor, hit that like button because it tells the algorithm to show this hidden money knowledge to more people. We are building an army of treasure hunters here. And don't just watch. I want you to comment down below with the most valuable coin or weirdest error you've found in your own change. Did you ever find a blank planchet, a clipped edge, a bizarre wrong strike? I read those comments, and honestly, sometimes the stories down there are worth more than the coins themselves. Your find could inspire someone else to check their change and change their life. Now, the final warning. Don't let the skepticism of the people around you stop you from checking. They're going to laugh. They're going to say you're wasting your time looking at pennies. But won't you have the last laugh if you pull that glimmering, silver 2015 D Lincoln cent out of a paper roll? This is real. The records are there. The auction history supports it. The only thing missing is you taking the time. I'm telling you, secrets are hiding right under our noses, in the dustiest corners of our cars and the bottoms of our piggy banks. You are not going to believe what I'm about to show you. Right now, there's a coin sitting in someone's pocket change that could pay off their house. Seriously. And the scariest part? You might have already had it and spent it on a soda. We're talking about the 2016 Abraham Lincoln penny with a D mint mark, a coin that looks totally normal but is worth a life-changing fortune. Stick with me for the next few minutes, because by the end of this, you are going to be sprinting to your loose change jar. I'm going to show you exactly what to look for, the crazy mistake that turns this 1-cent coin into a $1 million payday, and the step-by-step way to check if you're holding a small fortune right now. Alright, let's rewind. You've probably seen 100 of these pennies and never glanced twice. It's got Lincoln on the front, the Union shield on the back, and a little D stamped right below the date. The D just means it was born in Denver. No big deal, right? That's exactly what most people think. And that's exactly why the secret stayed hidden for so long. Here's where the story takes a wild turn. In 2016, the U.S. Mint was producing billions of these pennies, churning them out at insane speeds. Machinery was running hot. Dies were slamming down thousands of times an hour. And when machines move that fast, they sometimes break their rules. Imagine the chaos inside the Denver Mint facility. Technicians are pushing production. Deadlines are tight, and in the middle of all that noise, a flaw slipped through, a flaw so rare that it shouldn't even exist. But wait, before I reveal the exact flaw, I need you to understand something crucial. This isn't just about a tiny scratch or a weird smudge. The real money mistake is something that defies the entire design of the coin. Let's pause right there. What if I told you that the surface of this coin holds a ghost, a second image, hidden in plain sight? See, the error we're hunting is a catastrophic die clash. Think about what happens when two massive pieces of hardened steel slam together with no coin between them. They imprint on each other. The reverse design transfers onto the obverse die, and then, the next penny that gets struck inherits that ghost. We're talking about seeing the outline of the shield bleeding through onto Lincoln's face. But the $1 million version goes even deeper. We're looking for a 2016 D penny where the plankette itself was flawed. A lamination error where the top layer of copper is peeling away, revealing a shimmering zinc core underneath. But the true Holy Grail combines these in a way nobody expected. Now, listen closely because this detail separates the millionaires from the hopeful. Most people get too excited too early. They see a weird penny and think they've won the lottery. Don't be that person. You need 3 specific markers locked in your brain. Number 1, the date. It must be 2016, not 2015, not 2017. Number 2, the mint mark. It has to be that little D for Denver. If you find a P or no mint mark, keep looking. And number 3, the weight. Oh, you didn't think weight mattered? It's the secret test they don't talk about. A genuine 2016 copper-plated zinc penny should weigh exactly 2.5 grams. But some of these rare error coins were stamped on the old copper alloy plancase from a previous year, which weigh 3.11 grams. If you put it on a scale and it hits 3.1 grams, your heart should probably be beating really fast right now. I know what you're thinking. How is this possible? How did the mint screw this up? Picture a giant bin of blank metal discs. Sometimes, a leftover blank from 1982 falls into the 2016 batch. It gets fed into the press, gets the 2016 design, and suddenly you have a penny that's technically an impossible hybrid. A metallic ghost from the past wearing a modern suit. Let's talk about the hunt itself. There's an electric, almost feverish feeling when you hold one of these under a light. You tilt it sideways. You're looking for a doubling of Lincoln's eye. Not the blurry machine doubling that's worth nothing, but a sharp, crisp split in the eyelid. That's proof the die hit twice and slightly moved. Combine a D mint mark, a 3.1 gram weight, a doubled die, and a strike-through error where grease filled the letters of liberty, and you are no longer looking at a penny. You are looking at a down payment on freedom. But here's the gut punch. The fear of missing out is real because these coins are disappearing. Every time a roll gets cracked open at a bank, and a non-collector spends it at a gas station, the coin gets scratched. The value drops. The perfect specimens are locked up in private collections already, driving the prices higher for the ones left in the wild. Right now, deep inside couches across America, these coins are sitting in darkness, waiting to be discovered or lost forever in a Coinstar machine. The thought of $1 million being shredded by a counting machine makes me feel a little sick. Honestly, don't let that happen to you. Okay, we've built up the mystery. We've talked about the hidden markers. Now for the big reveal, the number you've been waiting for, how much it's actually worth. Most websites will tell you a rare penny is worth $100. Pay attention. They are talking about the low-grade ones, the common errors, the circulated junk. We are not hunting common. A high-grade 2016 D Lincoln cent with a major retained lamination error and a full red designation just went to auction. The room went silent. Bidding opened at $1,500. It blew past $10,000 before you could blink. The hammer price came down at $34,000. But wait, that's not the $1 million part yet. The $1 million question is the die clash variant struck on a solid copper plankette. This specific specimen has been independently verified by the Professional Coin Grading Service, or PCGS, as a unique discovery coin. Unique means there is literally only one confirmed. That coin is insured right now for an estimated value of over $1 million. However, experts believe at least 2 more exist in circulation. They are basing it on die wear patterns. The die clashed, it made a few coins, and then it was replaced. That means mathematically, there are probably 2 others floating around out there. 2 needles in a haystack the size of the United States. And you could find one tomorrow. Picture yourself walking into an auction house. You hand them a tiny plastic flip. They look at it, look back at you, and suddenly everything changes. That's not just fantasy. That's happened. Now, before you dive headfirst into your coin jar, there's a critical tool you're going to need that nobody talks about. It's not a magnifying glass. although you definitely need one with at least 10x power. It's your phone flashlight. Here's a pro tip: turn off the lights in your room. Hold the penny at a sharp 45-degree angle and rake the light across the surface. If there is a hidden shield impression from the reverse die clashing on Lincoln's cheek or neck, the shadows will scream out at you. Under normal light, it's practically invisible, but with a direct raking light in a dark room, the ghost image looks like a topographical map of hidden treasure. I've seen grown adults, tough guys who have been collecting for 40 years, literally gasp when they see that shadowy outline pop out for the first time. It feels like discovering a secret cave painting in the palm of your hand. Let's switch gears for a second. I want to talk about the emotional roller coaster you're about to experience. Stage 1. You're flipping through pennies. You're bored, then you see the 2016 D and your stomach flips. Don't stop. Check that date. Check it again. Stage 2. You see a crack in Lincoln's head. You think, I'm rich. Calm down. Die cracks are common. Keep looking. Stage 3. You weigh it. Your hands are trembling. The scale flicks between 2.5 and 3.1. If it settles on the heavy side, Stage 4 kicks in. Pure adrenaline. You can't sleep. You're googling pictures, comparing them to your coin, zooming in, losing your mind. That feeling? That's the thrill of the hunt. And that's why I do this. Because the joy isn't just in the cash, it's in the few seconds where the world stops and you realize you're holding a piece of history that shouldn't exist. Alright, let's recap the checklist because I don't want you to miss it. You look for the diamond mark under the date. You weigh the coin. 3.1 grams is the jackpot target, but even a 2.5 gram coin with a heavy die clash can still be worth a fortune. Flip it over. Look for any sign of zinc rot, those little bubbles. If it's perfectly smooth with a sharp strike, that's a good sign. Look at Liberty's fingers on the reverse. That's right, the tiny statue on the shield. If those fingertips are perfectly separated, you have a full strike. Then, look for the doubling. Try to see if the shield has bled through to the obverse. If you check all those boxes, I urge you, do not clean the coin. I'm begging you. The second you rub it with a cloth or dip it in Polish, you take $1 million coin and turn it into a $300 conversation piece. The natural toning and surface integrity is where the value lives. Now imagine a scenario. It's Friday night. You're stuck in traffic. You're just casually checking your pockets for a loose change to pay for a coffee. You pull out a handful of coins and you stop. Right there in your palm is a 2016 D with that gorgeous, shimmering, original mint red luster. You tilt it. There it is, the ghost of the shield, faint but undeniable, right across his jawline. In that moment, you aren't in traffic anymore. You're sitting on a secret that could change your family's entire future. That's the power of a tiny piece of copper. It's not even about greed. It's about the rush of discovering something nobody else could see. Stay with me for just a few more seconds, because I'm about to show you something that will completely flip how you see the coins in your pocket. There's a specific visual test involving the Statue of Liberty's feet on the reverse. If you don't know this, you could easily throw away the winning ticket without ever realizing it. Think about how many millions of these pennies were made. The mintage number is astronomical, but we aren't looking for the millions. We're looking for the few dozen that escaped the furnace. The ones that the quality control team missed because they were too focused on the silver and gold coins that day. It's human error meeting mechanical chaos. And human error is unpredictable. They didn't catch it, and because they didn't catch it, a potential house deposit is sitting in a paper roll in a bank vault, or wedged under the carpet of a 2018 sedan, or tucked away in a little kid's piggy bank. It's out there, moving silently through the economy, worthless to someone who doesn't know, priceless to someone who does. If you're watching this, you are now the person who knows. You can't unknow this. Every single transaction you make from this moment forward, you are going to check the date. It's a curse and a blessing. But honestly, it's the best kind of curse. The value fluctuates, but the scarcity does not. A coin like this doesn't depreciate. It's not a stock. It's not crypto. You can physically hold it, hide it, pass it down. Right now, The private market for error coins is hotter than it's ever been. Wealthy collectors are aggressively building registry sets, and they need the flawless anomalies. They need the impossible coins. Your job is simply to intercept one before it gets ruined by circulation. Here comes the ask. Go grab your jaw right now. Yes, right this second. Dump it out. Run your hands through the pile. Check for 2016. Check for the D. If you think you've found a candidate, email me a picture, or drop a comment. I want to see what you've been sleeping on. The community here is insanely sharp, and we verify these fast. And if you're that one person who finds the second known solid copper die clash, I want to be the first person to congratulate you. Live. Don't close this video yet. Stick around because we're about to show you an extreme close-up on the screen right now of the exact ghost image location. I want to burn this image into your brain. See that faint, arching outline? That isn't a scratch. That's the edge of the shield bleeding through from the reverse. That tiny, almost invisible crescent is worth more than everything in your savings account. Look at it, memorize it. That's your treasure map. If you walk away with no other skill, walk away with the ability to spot that shadow. For those who want to go even deeper into the rabbit hole, stick around. We've got details on the die marriage numbers, the VAMs, and the exact strike characteristics that the grading companies use. But if you're hungry for more hidden money secrets, make sure you hit that subscribe button and smash the bell, because next time, we're tackling a dime that you've definitely held and thrown away without a second glance. It's a mistake so obvious once you see it, you'll kick yourself. Don't miss that one. Your pockets are holding more secrets than the banks want you to know. Thanks for hanging out, and happy hunting.